Good morning, everybody. First, I want to welcome everybody to Caffeine Corner. It's a kind of a special edition for us. We had a little technical problems earlier. Hopefully, we resolved them. So I want to just right off the bat make sure that people can hear us properly. And Chess is coming through because she's Canadian, and those weird internet connections she's got. So good morning, Chess.
Ooh, good morning. Hopefully you guys can hear me and I'm not blowing up anybody's ears. I'm trying to speak at a little bit quiet volume before I start projecting and screeching at people like the mad woman I am.
I've adjusted some of the audio levels, so hopefully they can hear. We're not using Skype today. We're using Zoom, which is a little bit different way of doing it. Unfortunately, sometimes slobs doesn't work too well with Zoom, but I think I've got it worked out. But anyways, good morning. I got my smug here with my caffeine. Yay. But let me ask the live chat here if they heard her properly. There was a little
Looks
bit of
like
delay.
we're fine.
Awesome. Well, hey, yeah, I still didn't want a producer one of these days, and we're going to get Bullinator back, but at least I didn't foobar too much. But anyways, welcome to Caffeine Corner. I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown real quick before we kind of get started on this to kind of give you guys why we're doing this particular episode, because this is a special episode, I think. It is something that is very critical to me as a parent who has a 14-year-old daughter that is against bullying and one of those people that stands up to bullies. And so this is something that is actually pertinent to my life. And so I want to make sure people realize that this video is not monetized. This video is not have super chats, that they have been disabled. We want people to realize that this video is something that we actually want people to view because it is something that we actually believe in more so than just people saying, oh, well, they're doing this for views, they're doing this for money. It has nothing to do with any of that. So I put in the video description a little bit of basic information of why we're doing this. This is for our community more than anything else. And I know a lot of people are coming from other communities, and that's fine. We welcome that. Sometimes you may not understand what we're going to be talking about in this particular video because there's so much history in our community that it'd be very difficult, if not nearly impossible, to regurgitate it all in a matter of 2 hours. It's just a lot of data.
Yep.
So I apologize for that.
And we want to let our mods know ahead of time. Guys, you're going to get to probably play whack-a-mole today. Be a little bit reserved if you can. I know it gets exciting and it's a little bit fun. Just keep an eye out for spamming people that are off topic and people that are just being egregious, like the usual, like making egregious claims, and then you give them the chance to back it up. They don't, you're done. So asking questions, fine, provided the questions are on topic. Please do not be bringing up stuff that is completely unrelated. And Puck is here.
Now, I will let people know. We probably won't be answering a lot of questions from the live chat. I have a lot of mods that will be able to handle the live chat stuff, but unfortunately, we have so much to discuss in the next 2 hours that we're just not going to be able to take live chat questions, at least not maybe till the very end or in a separate episode altogether. And if we do that, there'll be some provisions for that. But the directive to the mods right now is basically, let people say what they want, as long as it's not trollish behavior. You guys have been around for a long while. You know what trollish behavior looks like, but this video is going to be dedicated to showing some people basically how easy it is to spin things and how easy it is to manipulate people to form a narrative. And this is what a lot of the cyberbullies and what a lot of trolls do. And a lot of people who don't have the critical thinking skills will unfortunately buy into these things without due diligence and without proper investigation because they just don't have the skill set, I think, to properly do some investigations. And also, we as a humans have this propensity to want to defend ourselves, and trolls take advantage of this. What they do is they recognize the fact that they can throw out anything they want, and a lot of people will just naturally try to defend themselves because I think most people are generally honest people, and this is something that trolls take advantage of, and we all do it. Don't get me wrong, we all do it. And this was something that happened to two people that were recommended to me to get in touch with. One of them was named Lily Jean, and the other one was her mom, Laura. Now, this particular episode is not going to be dedicated too much about them per se. We are going to discuss them. We have some criticisms for them, and we have some criticisms for the cyberbullies and the trolls. But we want to recognize the fact that there is legit criticisms out there. We're going to explore that. But we also want to inform people that if you have legit criticism, it doesn't hide in the shadow. Now, I understand there's anonymity, and there's reasons why there's anonymity for people on the internet. But if you have a legit criticism, I'm only going to accept it from people that I can actually know who they are. Now, if you don't like that, that's fine.
Steve and I actually disagree on this point.
We do.
I don't have a problem accepting criticism from somebody who I don't know their name, their face, I don't know who they are, but not if they come at you sideways.
Okay, fair point. Yeah, maybe we're more on the same page than we were before. If they come at me sideways, they're not going to get the time of day, right? If they're on a fake account, they're obviously on something that I created yesterday, and they come at me sideways, they're not going to get the time of day. They're just going to get blocked straight up. It doesn't matter to me. After this episode, besides if we do a Q&A episodes, it's one and done. We're not really interested in getting involved in these other communities. We're not interested in them having multiple videos. We're not having them, we make a video, they make a video. Not interested in any of that. This is not for that. So if they're on an account that I don't know who they are, I don't want to pull the genetic fallacy that, that means it doesn't have valid criticism. But
yeah, Violet makes a really good point. You can critique without harassing.
Sure, absolutely.
There's a difference between criticizing and critiquing and saying you have bad teeth.
Right.
Like, it's not a critique. That doesn't mean it's useless.
Yeah,
these
are personal things that people attack people with. One of the reasons why I left some other communities was they were doing these personal attacks, making fun of where people work, making fun of their looks, making fun of things that are fixed things, right? If you have to argue something about a fixed thing, you're not really having an argument. If I say, hey, you're wrong because of some quality about yourself that is just unchangeable, then that's not really an argument that I really want to get involved with, because that's not an argument. That's just people being trollish. So real quick, before we even get started, and again, I'm going to turn this over to Cheshire here in a minute here, but I wanted to get the audience involved in this. So as people know, we do a lot through Twitter. And again, I apologize. People a lot of times never know what the heck we're talking about, because we're talking about Twitter and not everybody has Twitter. I get it, right? And I think by now most people do recognize that Twitter is pretty much a cesspool. I mean, it's just, I've always said it's my dumpster ground, right? Because it really is. And trolls take advantage of this, right? And again, people that are easily manipulated, or at least feel like they need to defend themselves even when they don't, and again, we all do it, trolls take advantage of this behavior on Twitter. And I don't know what it is, but some people enjoy those kind of conversations, which is fine. I don't. I block them. Now, I'm going to be posting something on my Twitter account right now in real time. And what I want people to do is go to my Twitter, which is @SteveMcCrae_, and I want you guys to vote. And what I'm going to be asking you guys to vote on is basically in reference to this video. What I'm going to be showing you 3 graphs. And I want to see which one of these graphs, by your own argumentation, you think is the one most likely that had actually bought subs. Okay. Now, I will tell you this about these graphs. 2 of these graphs have had people accuse them of buying subs. Okay. That is a fact. So I'm going to tweet this right now. I'm tweeting it. Boom. And I'm going to show you guys in live time the graphs right now. Jess, are you ready to go?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. So we're going to start with
let's go.
Well, like I said, this is like to show people, how you could run a narrative about the ones that are buying subs versus worse, ones that aren't. And this is a lot of things that are happening with to get into it, like Lily Jean. People are accusing her of buying subs. Now, she has 1 million some odd subscribers on Instagram. I don't have anything to do with Instagram for the most part. I have an account on Instagram. I didn't start it. Someone started it for me, and I just did the whatever, and I have like 5 pictures on it. I'd never hardly ever
I've seen it. It's real bad.
It's real bad. I don't give it. I'm going to delete it. So it is really, I have no use for it. But to people that follow Instagram stuff, good for you. But a lot of her subs probably are not real accounts. Okay, fair enough. We're going to be showing you that it happens ubiquitously across the board on many different types of accounts, including my own webpage, which I'll be showing you. But people have said, because of this, and this, they've inductively come up with the argument that she has bought subs. Now, these graphs, I have asked people to give me a deductive argument why they think that these are bought subs. Now, a deductive argument, as people know, would be something that the conclusion has to logically follow from the premises if the premises are true. Modus ponens is a very simple example. It would be something like this. If the graph has a spike, the person bought subs. The graph has a spike, therefore the person bought subs. That is a valid deductive argument. Not a single person was able to give me even a deductive argument when I was asking this. Not one. So I'm going to ask them to do what's called an inductive argument, which means, can you at least give me a cogent argument, which means, if you guys remember back to your philosophy stuff on this channel, because this channel is not a drama channel, it's an educational channel, that a cogent argument is something between 50% and 100% valid. It cannot be 100% valid. The actual conclusion cannot logically 100% follow from the premises in an inductive argument, only in a deductive. But it has to be over 50% cogency. This example would be something along the lines of, most of the gumballs are blue. X is a gumball. Therefore, X is blue. That is an inductive cogent argument. Now, people say, well, it should be X is more likely blue. No, it's not. It is X. You're making an inductive argument based upon the fact that more than 50%, because remember, cogency has to be more than 50%. So I want people to do this. I want people to look at these graphs and come up with an inductive or abductive in their head. They don't have to tell me what it is, about what they think which one of these has bought subs. And again, 2 of these have been accused of buying subs. And an abductive argument is a type of inductive argument where you're saying the most likely explanation is something based upon prior experience. So we've seen people buy subs, right? Now, I don't know if a lot of people have experience with the graphs of what the normal distribution would look like, but we have actually seen people buy subs. Now, this graph here, this is the first one. Now, by the way, full honesty, Chester Iron already knows whose graphs these are and which ones have bought subs and which ones not. But this is graph 1, this is graph 2, and this is graph 3. Now, I want people to go on Twitter and vote which ones they think is the ones that most likely were buying subs. And then we're going to kind of discuss each one of these in depth. And we'll start with the one that people vote one. And I want to see if they make a really good argument. Well, they don't tell me the argument because that might get too long. But even in their head, which one of these, if you had to make an educated guess, bought subs, and there may be more than one. Okay, but anyways, I'm gonna leave these up for a while. I'm gonna turn over to Chess real quick, so she can kind of give you guys some information about what we're gonna be talking about. Because man, she outdid herself on this. I got to tell you, Chess is an investigative reporter. I mean, she's man, I don't know how she developed this skill set so well to really dive into this stuff, but she's got a knack for it. So,
well, okay. First off, what I want to go on is this is the reason why you block these people. I have a base policy that I tend to use, which is one and done. You make a claim, you get, okay, demonstrate that you can back up what you're saying. If you don't demonstrate it within one tweet or one example that you're trying to give, that might take more than one tweet because Twitter's limited. Done. I'm done with you. I'm not wasting my time, because if you're going to make an accusation, you should be coming out with your best evidence for that accusation right out the gate, especially if you want to have an honest discussion. So if somebody shows me some vague thing that's like, oh, well, it looks like they're doing this, well, then you can't claim that, because now you're just inferring what you think they meant by whatever quote you've decided to pull with no context.
Oh, that C word. There's that C word.
If somebody if you ask somebody to say, oh, can you show me somebody saying this, and they give you a single screenshot of just them talking, that tells you nothing about what's gone on. A proper screenshot to demonstrate something should show the context around it as best as it can to the best degree. So if you have if you're trying to that's what you should expect to see to somebody who's honest and actually trying to make a point. The second thing is, we've said over and over and over again here, is that if somebody is being honest and not trying to push a narrative, and if somebody is trying to tell the truth about their situation or another situation, they will be forthcoming with information. Every time, over and over again, we've asked people to demonstrate something. There's somebody in the chat right now saying that 80% of somebody's subs are from Iran. Where are you getting that 80% from? I'm not saying that you should be removed. You shouldn't be blocked right now. But if you can't tell me where you're getting that 80% from, then I'm not going to take your claim that it is in fact 80% serious.
Well, I know. By the way, I do know where they get that 80%.
Sure, yeah. That doesn't matter.
We actually know where they get that 80%, but they have to be able to describe that. And by the way,
yes.
these auditing tools like Hype Auditor and IO Audit and those things, or IG Audit, these are not very accurate. I've had extensive experience from my own podcast and my own analytics to show that there are major discrepancies in these things. But we'll get into that.
Why it becomes important to actually block these people is because they get really upset when they start losing an argument. I'm currently in Twitter holding. I'm not in jail because I've appealed them, but I've been in the appeal process for 2 days. The reason why they did this is because I'm not a fun toy to play with. And I make their other toys less fun to play with. Let me read to you the tweets that that got reported. But ... This is without context. So even without context, it will tell you exactly what you need to know. But ... well ... Bish, you came in here sideways AF talking about someone's dead family member, and your response after this is, but oh well, you're a cunt. I censored the word cunt. Next one was a dishonest lunatic got blocked. Wow. Next one. Dear Lord, you didn't even look before you just came in here raving like a lunatic. Go look at Steve McRae's YouTube channel. We are both in there. Last one. Ha ha ha, comes in here swinging, not knowing who anyone is, and makes themselves act the fool.
I do like the fact there have been people that go, hey, Cheshire, you should look into Steve's background. And she's like, really? Really?
Oh, you should look out for this Steve guy. He's taking advantage of you.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out some really cool shit about Cheshire today. By the way, things I didn't even know about. Yeah, she's a little challenged, I guess.
Apparently.
Apparently. So we're gonna have fun with that.
So please, by all means, tell me, Twitter, or tell me what you guys think. Are any of those reportable for any of the stuff that Twitter allows you to report for?
No, and these are people that are actively going out of their way to try to censor people. We've seen it before, and we're going to get into some of the
well,
the
they're
accounts,
actively trying to take me, and they're trying to deplatform me and take me out of the conversation because
cancel culture.
I'm not a fun troll. Like, I'm not a fun person to troll.
Yeah, let me make it very clear here. I actually, since I like philosophy, I have a well-established ethical framework, right? People that know me know that I like virtue epistemology, although I understand consequentialism and utilitarianism, and I understand
my
the needs.
tea is already empty, but I would like to point out real quick, guys, I came prepared because today was going to be a big day.
This is my third cup. Yeah, this is my third cup. It's going to be a big day. But I want people to realize that Cheshire doesn't have the same ethical framework I do, okay? Hers are a lot more malleable than mine are, and that's good. I don't want somebody that's true. I don't want somebody exactly like me. I want a kind of a little bit of a dichotomous type situation because Cheshire, what does everybody need in a D&D group?
A rogue?
Yeah. And she's more chaotic neutral than I definitely am. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's be real here. If we're going to go D&D terms, Steve is lawful good.
I am not lawful good. I see this is where
Let
she
me
gets it
explain
wrong
to you why.
because she's using D&D 5 rules. Just FYI. Okay.
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm using D&D 5e rules. And so specifically, I would say he's lawful good because he has a framework and he follows it to the T.
I would say I'm actually neutral good, but whatever. I'm not. See, the problem, I can't be lawful good because I'm not a deontologist. I don't subscribe to deontic theories as much as I do other types of
Kesh is at best chaotic.
Yeah, no, that's no. Thank you. Somebody gets it. Okay, thank you.
That's Flappin.
Yeah, Flappin gets it.
That man. Can we please get that man a wrench?
At best, she's chaotic neutral.
At best.
Yeah, I like the way he puts that because there's some leeway there to say the least. But all right, so let's kind of
That's fair.
And by the way, the people in the live chat, mods, you guys are doing great. But don't get too distracted by an individual person. We have a lot of trolls. We get that. Don't let them get sidetracked. Don't give me any more acknowledgement. Just, by the way, thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. It's one and done. People are not going to come at us sideways. And again, after this, we're not going to bother with any of these people that are from other communities just coming in to start shit. Not going to happen.
Yeah, today is the day where my policy of one and done. Where are you getting this number from? You're not going to tell me? Okay, bye.
All right, so let's look at the.
Not going to waste your time with us.
Let's kind of go, and we're gonna show you by read these graphs, and I want to read what Sean Hufford had to say. This is good.
Yes, yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, Sean, my buddy Sean. Hi, Sean. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out Sean Hufford's channel, go check it out. It's one of the best flat Earth debunkers out there.
He's been playing games recently.
Real without me? Oh God. Okay. He says just take a look. Just took a look at your profile, or excuse me, just look at your graph, Steve. Not sure which channels are involved, because I didn't say it yet. But number one looks like it bought subs. Okay, that one has been accused. 2 looks like shout out effects, possibly. 3 looks like a social media bug. Okay, it wasn't. 3 I actually know what's caused that. But okay, so let's look at the results so far. So I'm going to see if I can. Should I just screen share this? I guess.
Yeah, just screen share it.
All right. Oh, I'm on Zoom though, so it's going to be a little different. I won't be able to screen share. That's okay. What I will do is I will just kind of cut and paste this into my OBS right now. People connect.
I don't think there's anything. Let me just clarify. There's nothing wrong with reporting. There's nothing wrong with reporting on Twitter. There's nothing wrong with blocking on Twitter. They're tools. You should use them, but you need to use them appropriately. The thing is like a tool is not meant to be a weapon. What a lot of people are doing is they are falsely reporting things to get someone deplatformed. Right. Like they're like this isn't like a question in my brain. I know that these people are actively trying to take me off so they can attack other people because I'm not a fun toy to play with, and I make it less fun for them to play with their current toys.
And by the way,
And it's not the first time this has happened. This happens all the time.
and by the way, we're going to be addressing this later on. But critical videos, people that have actual criticisms, nobody should be deplatforming those people. Nobody should be going to harass them. Nobody should.
None of us are saying, "Oh, you should go report Creepshow."
Anybody?
Absolutely not. There's no reason to.
Yeah, and anybody who knows me for years, I've been on YouTube now for 6-7 years, right? Anybody who knows me, I have obviously some detractors out there. People make some shitty videos. I don't watch them, but I've never once reported them.
No.
Nope, I couldn't care less. I haven't watched them, so there's nothing to report. I wouldn't even know if they're valid or not. I leave it to other people because I just don't give a shit about them, right? I don't watch any of their stuff, and people know the history of me and other groups and Non Sequitur Show. I don't bother with that.
Yeah, Steve is going to be. This is where we start differing in ethics a little bit. Steve is like, I'm not going to report these people for anything. I don't care. They can say whatever they want. I'm like, no, you should report these people if they're violating the terms of service, which means targeted harassment, which means if they're making callouts for you to false flag somebody or for you to flag somebody
that's
for
different.
some reason.
I'm fine with reporting
those. That is reportable. Yes. That is where
I've actually done that. People that have actually said,
yeah,
go report these videos, I've actually said this is targeted harassment. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That I do agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at the results so far. I know this is a small sample size. I get this. This is not a scientific survey, by the way. I get this. But
it's just an example.
Yeah.
We have another example afterward that's a little bit more broad. You got it?
Hang on. Yeah, well, I keep on putting video capture device, and it's not. It's actually display capture. So let me go to my sleek. Here we go. Now people can see it. All right, so this is display capture. So right now it looks like 1 has 16% of the vote, 2 has 5% of the vote, 3 has 43% of the vote, and 35 is don't know. Now, let me kind of show these real quick. I would if I had to look at these and I had to just make an abductive argument, of course I would probably go with maybe 3 as well. But however, I have certain things that you guys don't have. I have what's called context. I have actually what's called information that you're not privy to, right? But you will be privy to because I'm going to explain this to you. The first graph here was accused of buying subs. And this was accused of buying subs by my old partner, Kyle. This is Mr. Atheist's graph. Number 1. Okay. I actually defended Mr. Atheist, and I actually said he did not buy subs. I recognized the fact that he was getting called out. I recognized the fact that he was picking up subs. I looked at the normal analytics. It all checked out to me. However, Kyle didn't buy it. He thought he was buying subs, and he wanted to get on that. Other people have called him out. I believe that Rock may have actually said that he was buying subs too. And again, I when people make these accusations, I find them to be pretty egregious because you cannot make a deductive argument very easily that's sound that I think could argue.
It's really hard to demonstrate just by looking at the numbers without some kind of other insider information that that person telling you. It's really hard to say somebody's buying subs or not.
Exactly. Now I could make the argument that one is right. I mean, because Kyle did. I'm pretty sure Unirock did. So I could say, hey, look at number 1, and I could put this on Kiwi Farms. I could put this on Lowell's Cows, which we would get into, and say this person clearly is buying subs, which is a weasel word. I use it myself. I'm sorry, but it is a weasel word. And people that don't know the background, the context, the history, all they're going to see this and go, well, shit, look at this sharp incline. Clearly they're buying subs, which is not necessarily the case. It is a bad abductive argument. Number 2 got 5% of the vote. Okay. That actually is Godless Engineers, actually. Again, somebody who I don't think has bought subs. I don't get along with either of these people, right? But I would defend them when it came to people accusing them of buying subs. Yep. This is what I want this channel to be known for. We're not a call-out channel. We're not a drama channel. We're not a bandwagon channel. It is very easy to jump on a bandwagon when people are making these accusations because you're not putting yourself out there. You're not putting yourself on a limb to be analyzed, because if you find out that it's wrong, you're in a group of people that you just say, well, you know what, we all got it wrong. There's comfort there. But when you go against the grain and you are the one saying, hey, maybe we should look at this more carefully, and people giving you crap for it, then if you're wrong, you're taking a hell of a lot more chance. And I guarantee you, there'll be times Jess and I may not get it right.
Oh yeah.
But we will tell you we're always going to be doing it from what we think is the best course of action, especially myself, my ethical framework. Chester knows, but it is,
Hey.
but the rogue. But I want people to know that this channel will be going against the grain on a lot of things. This was what the non sequitur show was predicated on, right? Opinions are sacred, and we set out to say we don't want to do what's easy. We want to do what is right and what is hard, and we succeeded for that for a very long time. I'm not going to get into the huge history of that for the people that are just joining this channel, but there's a lot of background there.
Uni's in the chat. Hi, Uni.
Hi, Uni. And by the way, I'm not dissing on Uni. I just
because we disagree with you doesn't mean we don't like you.
Valid
anymore.
criticism does not hide in shadows, and I think that Uni, when he tells people that people are buying subs, I think there needs to be a lot more evidence to support that. No.
And I also think that Uni will call us out if
I
he
hope
thinks
he
we're
does.
full of crap.
Yeah, well, he
Please
better.
do.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I wouldn't respect somebody if they said, hey, you know what? I think Steve's completely wrong of this, but you know what? I'm not going to say anything. No. Come at me.
At me, bro.
But don't come at me sideways, right? I've changed my opinion on things. I think that if you don't change your opinion every so often, you're inflexible. You're just intransigent. You just cannot properly analyze things because there needs to be change. There needs to be growth. I mean, 6-7 years ago, people remember I hated philosophy. I was a philosophical idiot.
Sean actually makes a really good point as well. My view on what I said on number 1 looks like bot behavior is the 60K spike over 1 month, then a fall off and a sine wave effect of sub count.
Yeah. And by the way, Sean's analysis is not bad, right?
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
He's put thought into it. He has an abductive argument. But here's the thing. The conclusion is incorrect because we know now that it wasn't buying subs. But if Sean's a very smart guy, right? He could take that analysis and he could run with that. If Sean became a troll, we're screwed.
Best.
Yeah, we would be totally screwed. So if Sean wanted to take this and say, hey, this person here, let me show you why they bought subs, he could make a very, very good argument for that. And people would buy it without looking too much into it. You agree, Jess?
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, there's another argument to be made, like realistically, especially with the number of trolls coming in and out. Like my Twitter just hit 1,000. And I would like to especially thank all of the trolls that have been going after Laura and Lily at this point because they're all subbing to me on their 6 accounts. So, like, I have every intention. Once I get back on Twitter, I'll be putting up a message, like a tweet that says, "Oh, thanks all you guys. Let's bring this back down," and then going through and blocking them all. So
and by the way, I do the same thing. I purge. I have to purge my Facebook all the time because I'm at 5,000 friends on Facebook, and you only get 5,000. So what I'll go do is, if I see people that they're not real accounts because I try to confirm most people. I get rid of them, and then those fake accounts will fall off, and I'm about 4,980 something now. So I've got some room. But,
Astronomy Live had a spike.
Okay, well,
who's the last one, Steve?
Well, the last one's the most interesting because if you look at that spike, and I want Sean Hufford to kind of now do analysis on this too, since he's in the audience. This is a very sharp, very narrow spike. This is a one-time insurgence of subs. Clearly, what would cause a one-time insurgence of subs? Buying subs. There you go. 44% got that. And this person was accused of buying subs. Now,
number 3 looks like Social Blade got bad info, but self-corrected and showed the correct subs dropping over a period.
Okay, which by the way, that's an abductive argument because we've seen that happen before. Plausible. But what happens is trolls don't talk about plausibilities as much as they run a narrative at, you know what, just because this is plausible might probably be the case. They use words like allegedly, which we'll get into, or
oh god,
allegedly.
Take a shot.
Take a shot of caffeine. Oh, I spilled myself. Okay. But it's so easy to run a script when you're just trying to convince people of something. This is what trolls do. Does anybody have an idea what number 3 is? Just out of curiosity.
Just tell them.
No, I'm just kind of curious.
If anybody recognizes it?
Yeah.
Context clues. Why would Steve ask this question?
Yeah. Why, Steve? But why? All right, I'll just tell him. This is actually my graph. This is my graph. I didn't buy subs, clearly. But let me ask the people what caused this spike. Now that they know this was me, and again, not giving you guys any clues, what caused this? And most people that have been around this channel for a very long time and non sequitur show would know what the spike is from. But those who don't know, those are from other communities, would have probably no idea what this spike is from, and anybody can manipulate them and run a narrative. Look at this. Steve clearly bought subs. Correct, Helios. Immediately after Non Sequitur show. This is when I had 7,000 subs come over from my other channel that was fraudulently taken from me, which I'm in, people guys know, civil litigation through North Carolina Mandatory Complex Superior Court to get back. Proceeding very well. I've won my court case. I'm just trying to get damages, including the channel.
A good number of people guessed correctly.
Yeah, because they have what's called, what is that C word again?
Context?
Because they have context. So they have information that...
You killing non-sec commies.
Why, Steve?
Do this?
That, again, inside joke.
Best meme.
We have to show that meme one of these days. All right, so let me get rid of these things. But I wanted to give you guys a quick intro on how easy it is to spin a narrative when you don't have the contextual information. And this is what trolls do. They have done this to me. They've done it to Cheshire. They've done it to other people. And we're going to get into some more detailed stuff about the things that have been said.
Yep.
But you guys see how easy it is to manipulate? If I didn't tell you guys what GraphSource were, I could have easily made a video and said, look at Steve. He's obviously buying subs. And I have detractors, and they would totally buy into that. Totally believe that.
Because of the screenshots you took, that could actually have not been yours that you showed.
Fair enough.
So because the screenshots were just a graph, I could say, oh, hey, look, this is a graph of Mr. Atheist, and it's actually Steve's. And say, this is Mr. Atheist obviously buying subs, when it's like, well, not only did I not show you Mr. Steve's graph, and I just showed you another one and said it was. So if you don't actually do the research and go look for yourself, and you just believe me, then you could have been shown completely the wrong graph entirely with that kind of screenshot. That's why the screenshot that actually shows what's being shown is important.
Yeah. And by the way, yeah, Unirock. See, one of the reasons I love Unirock, and guys, if you haven't subscribed to him, go check out Unirock too. He's willing to put himself out there. I think he happens to be wrong sometimes.
Well,
like
he's
on
saying
this.
that Kyle bought subs.
Right, and I don't. Kyle didn't buy subs. I'm pretty well convinced Kyle didn't buy subs. There would have been no reason for him to do so.
Oh, you're talking about for non-sec.
Immediately after, yeah, that's 600. I think that was a glitch. I have seen that before with Social Blade. Other people have as well.
I've seen the argument that somebody else bought subs for.
But you know, Unirock is at least going out there and putting himself on a limb now, on a limb. But again, when you make these accusations, I think there needs to be way more qualifying data to support it. And I don't think Unirock has that qualifying data. And I've called him out on it just like I would with anybody else. And by the way, I'm no fan of Kyle, clearly. But and Mr. Atheist, I'm clearly no fan of. And another good example, I know we're going to talk about this later, Chess, but if you don't mind, I'm no big fan of David Silverman either, right? I have major philosophical disagreements with David Silverman. But we just had David Silverman on recently because he had some unethical things done to him, I believe. And I was willing to look past the philosophical philosophical differences that we have and stand up for him, because I think that is what this channel is about. This particular video has gotten so much feedback and it's so many positive comments, and I'm thrilled to death, and I appreciate the comments we've gotten of that.
Well, this is the thing. It's so easy. We talked about this on with David Silverman. It's so easy to jump on a bandwagon. It's when there is not going to be any consequences for you if you're incorrect. It's about whether or not we believed him or not. What we did criticize is one side of this is not being forthcoming with their information. That's not saying they're lying. That's not saying things didn't happen. That's saying we don't know because they won't tell us.
Right.
And that's like that. I criticize that, because how is anybody supposed to actually make a reasonable argument or make a reasonable decision if you're not going to tell us what went on? And if the other side is like, yeah, here's what went on, here's recordings, here's signed testimony, here's all of my information, they're not trying to spin narrative. Mm-hmm. They've got goods.
And let me shut up. And let me point out, Unirock and Sean still think Kyle bought subs, and they might be right? But here's the difference. They're not trying to go after Kyle for any kind of other reasons because, of what happened, right? There's no alternative motive there. There's no bias there. Or at least I hope there's no bias there. I think they're really being objective, that they really didn't think that they bought subs. And I don't mind if people make those kind of arguments. But I know that them, they're not trying to harm somebody. This is what the difference between trolls and people that actually do commentary. We all put ourselves out there. We all have abductive arguments. We all have inductive arguments. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those. They're not. But there are people that use these types of things to harm people. And this is what we're going to be talking about in this particular video. I mean, we're winding our way into it. This is going to be a long show, I think. Because when we see people say that they have valid criticisms, and they say, well, this person's buying subs, and yet they hide behind sock accounts. They hide behind, so many fake accounts, and they actually say, we're trying to deplatform these people. We're trying to harm them. We're trying to ruin them. These are words that they have used. That is not the intent for somebody like UniRock or for Sean. They're not trying to do harm to somebody. They actually are trying to point something out. So there's a distinction to be made there. Would you agree, Chesh?
I muted myself because I was typing.
She got a loud keyboard.
Yeah. Somebody, Sock Puppet makes a good point that I do want to address, and hopefully we can go into this a little bit more in depth another time because we can't really go into it here because there's a lot to cover today.
Yeah.
They said, I'm not accusing, and don't get me wrong, but is what Steve does to GE, Katie, and Mr. Atheist not bullying at some level at least? I'm not their fan either, never was, but still. So there's a difference between with what Steve just said. There's a difference between criticizing and being like holding somebody accountable for their actions and bullying them. Nobody's attacking Casey because they don't like her hair. Nobody's attacking GE because he's bad at the ukulele or whatever.
Some people have. He sucks at ukulele, but that again.
Some people have criticized, but they're not saying that, oh, you treated Steve bad, therefore you're bad at the ukulele.
Right. Exactly.
It's a separate criticism. Now that's not bullying. Nobody's saying go after them or get them deplatformed, and nobody's saying they're gonna ruin GE's career. Steve might have said that he wants GE to fail, but
I made this very clear. I want him to self-emulate himself. I want him to emulate
fail
himself.
on his own
I want him to destroy his own channel. Right. I've never asked anybody to go comment on their channels. I've never asked anybody to go massive dislike. What I've told is you can hold them accountable, ask them questions. Nothing wrong with that. I ask questions, but I've never targeted them, and I've never said I want them deplatformed. I do want them held accountable because I do very much believe that they were actively involved in the destruction of the Non Sequitur show, and I have reasonable abductive arguments to determine that. People don't have to agree with that. It doesn't matter.
Right, and you've continued, you've perpetuated that conversation because one, it's something you care about, and two, because it's still relevant. It's still going on, and they have yet to be held accountable for said things. So that's the difference there. I wouldn't call it bullying.
No, there's no bullying involved.
It might be harsh, but it's not bullying.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, again, I'm not going out there on fake accounts. I'm not hiding who I am, and we'll get into some of this stuff about doxing me. It's so funny.
Oh my god.
let me explain to people that may not be familiar with this channel. I'm public as far as my information. I have been for years. I don't hide from anything. People know who I am. People know my address. People have my phone numbers. I don't care. It's irrelevant. And so when people have to actually go out of their way to try to dox me, you're pretty shitty at what you do.
I got such a kick out of that. So apparently there was somebody on one of these, I don't know which site, I don't care. One of them was saying that, oh, look, Steve doxed himself, and we think we know what Chesh's real name is, but that's still speculative. So you were able to find, you're proud of yourself because you were able to find Steve's public information that he puts out there regularly, and you think you might know what my name is. You think you might know what listen, anybody out there can figure out what my name is with a little bit of reasoning and a little bit of, you could probably figure it out. It's not hard. I don't really hide it very well or at all.
But again, these trolls don't know the history, right? They're spinning a narrative on Kiwi Farms and Lulz Cow, which, by the way, I don't go to those sites. I've checked it out once when we were doing the Incel episode on Sequitur show. But other than that, I don't deal with any of these people.
It just seems
I have
like
people send things to me.
Yeah, I haven't gone there either. It seems to me like it's a message board essentially that is a discount 4chan.
Yeah, and Do I think these people are dangerous? Yeah, they can be, and I think that
They can be.
they're either sociopathic or non-empathetic. Yeah, I don't think they have empathy. I think they're just doing for they want to make people's lives miserable, and they want people to react to them. They want to look out and find bovines and milk these lulz cows for that supple lulz milk. And I understand that most of them are pretty innocuous and just want to laugh and mock people. Okay, whatever. But there are people that get their buttons pushed by this. And unfortunately, as we're going to get into, Laura happens to be one of the people. And we're going to be addressing that very shortly here. I do want to talk real quick before we get too far in about people have been mentioning Creepshow's video, Creepshow Art. Now, I don't really know this person. I don't really think that I probably want to. I don't know. I'm not trying to condemn her, but she made a video that we're going to be probably to get to toward the end of this episode.
Oh yeah, this is just an example. We're going to use this as an example of here is valid criticism versus this is not. You're not getting any real information here. This is a whole lot of accusations with a whole lot of
allegedly
trying to backtrack and say that my accusations aren't really accusations, but what it does is it perpetuates a problem. So essentially what we want to do is show you guys exactly. So even if you see anybody in the skeptic community doing this, that you should be skeptical. You should think critically about the videos that you're seeing. This would be a good example of a more egregious problem.
Exactly.
So if you see, say GM, and I don't think GM Skeptic's going to get mad at me. If let's say GM Skeptic puts out a video that sounds like this or has like a lot of accusations in it that he doesn't necessarily back up, you should ask him. And I don't think he would have a problem with that being a skeptic.
Yeah, exactly. And I want people to understand that they may not recognize they're being a cyberbully. They may not recognize that they're being a non-critical thinker. I thought about this very clinically, I guess, last night, and I thought there's pretty much distill or reduced most people down into two categories when it comes to this. There are people out there that probably willfully know they're spinning a narrative, right? These are these cyberbullies that actually are trying to cause harm. They're trying to get people emotionally involved, trying to push buttons. They are the ones that are willfully spinning a narrative. The other group would be the people that just are not that much of critical thinkers. They don't understand what's called ordinary skepticism or ordinary doubt or incredulity. People use that word skepticism differently than what I normally do, which is fine. Technically, skepticism deals more with the ability to have knowledge, whether we can know things or not, whether you're an academic scholar or academic skeptic or Pyrrhonian skeptic. But the way the community usually uses the word skeptic is somebody who just looks at things critically and tries not to immediately believe something without reasons, right? Whether you're an evidentialist, meaning that you have to have some kind of actual evidence that you can observe, empiricism, some kind of something physical you can actually look and see, hey, this is the case, or whether you have what's called prudential or prudential reasons to believe something, or even pragmatic reasons. So we want people to be critical thinkers. Now, if you want to call that skepticism, I'm okay with that. But when they mean by skepticism, they mean like don't buy into things just because you hear somebody saying it. I think Creepshow Art falls in the second category. I don't think that she's willfully trying to cyberbully somebody. I think that she doesn't know how to really analyze things very well, and she gets a lot of play from trying to go after somebody who's an easy target. And again, very easy to jump on these bandwagons. Now, Lily Jean was on one of our other episodes. The link is in the video description.
Yep.
On an episode on cyberbullying, right? And so if people want to go watch that and check out who we're talking about, please do. She has been bullied since she was 15. 15. And I've included her blogs that in the link as well. There's no reason to bully a 15-year-old. There's just no reason. Okay.
Unless you're a 15-year-old.
No, even then, I
teenagers bully each other all the time.
Doesn't mean it's right.
No, it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be frowned upon. Here's the thing: if somebody makes fun of you, are they bullying you? Yeah. Do you need to get over it? Probably. The egregious thing about this is not the fact that someone got bullied. That happens all of the time and needs to be handled appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is 3 years of this garbage going on.
This is more than just valid criticism. This is 3 years of intense people putting out multiple different attestations of accusations.
Actively trying to prevent this 15-year-old from having any kind of future because they've spun a narrative to say they're racist, they're this, they're that. to prevent them from even being able to exist online. That like there are people that's the problem here. It's not that, oh, this person got bullied and got their fifis hurt. No. We don't tend to care about fifis.
I'm not a fifi person. Yeah, I tell you, anybody who says Steve is triggered, or anybody who says Steve doesn't like or this that, they have no idea who the fuck I am, because I'm just not an emotional person. It's not me.
Steve uses capitals on Twitter. He must be mad.
I love that. I explain to people that's it's just for emphasis. Okay, that's all that really is. And by the way, there are people that say, they're like one person in the live chat says Steve's spinning narrative. If you think that's the case, that's fine, but demonstrate it.
Call us out. You can make a response to us. Now we may never see it.
I won't.
But if you
knock yourself out.
Like if you're not going to come at us sideways, and you have actual criticism about the way we've handled the situation or something we've said, or you think that we're incorrect about something, we have no problem listening to that.
Yeah.
Just don't come in here being like,
throwing
random shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Well, we were talking about doing a second episode, maybe a Q&A at some point, maybe. And again, this is a lot longer video than we're probably going to be expecting. But for the example, this person, your local smut master, Lovely Death XX, who I think I might know who they are. They're one of the people that I blocked on Twitter. Are they willing to give us their real name and come into a hangout to make accusations that I'm spinning a narrative? So your local smut master, let me ask you that question. Are you willing to come out from the shadows, give us your real information, and do valid criticism from your perspective that I've somehow spun narrative at any time?
Yeah,
Straight
because the thing is like we're there's plenty of times where we've more than willingly brought people onto the show. Not Caffeine Corner, but are willing to set up times to have these discussions, to have these talks. But we can't just give it out to anybody because it's too easy to just porn bomb.
Correct.
Which we have to, like, there are dangers in inviting people on, because if we don't know anything about you.
Exactly. So let's say that person answers. I mean, it's a yes or no question. So, Yeah. All right, Chess, where do you want to go from this? Because I got all these different things from these IG things, and I got all these different screenshots.
Do we want to go into our second example of somebody being able to spin a narrative based off of absolutely nothing with that little trap that I left laying around?
Sure, let's do that. By the way, this person says, seeing as Laura used people's information to have attacked them, no, but nice try. Then you know what? You have nothing of value to add to us, and you can go bye-bye. You're done.
Yeah.
So bye-bye, and I thank you for joining us.
That is the one and done example.
That's the one and done. So they're gone. Yeah. I'm not going to ever have any contact with that person. They're not willing to come out of the shadows, and they're trying to spin something that has to do with Laura. That's nothing to do with us. Laura doesn't control us on this channel.
Their picture is a little bit telling.
By the way, we have words for Laura. Trust me. We have valid criticisms for her, which, by the way, we've ran by her. She's not trying to throw under the bus, but we will get to that. But I'm not going to tolerate trolls or people hiding in shadows, spinning narratives like Steve has a narrative. You're not going to be able to do that unless I have actual information who you are. That's not to dox, but anybody could sit there behind the anonymous keyboard and say shit and spin
Make accusations.
You cannot do that on this channel. This channel is basically spin free. I don't want to say the no spin zone because that's trademarked in somebody else's stuff, but we don't tolerate that stuff. Not in this community. Go to other communities if you want to do that. And this is why this video is for what I consider to be mostly our kind of community. All right. So Chess, you were very creative, and you laid some landmines for trolls. And
so
I did too, but you were better at it. But go ahead.
Yeah, despite what some people may or may not be saying, that I'm being used by Steve or others, I knew very well what I was getting into because Steve laid out all of the information that he had about how, hey, if you're going to hang out with me, this is a thing that goes on. There's trolls with this and trolls with that. And of course, I'd been around in the community in the background for quite some time, so I was well aware of what the hell was going on. So because I got to play a little game called Player 3 has entered the game, nobody knows anything about me. None of these people who've been following Steve around for years know who I am, and neither do any of these other people. So I was like, well, now that means I get to essentially control what information is easily available about me. So I laid a little bit of a landmine. And that landmine is the idea that I am actually underaged and 17. Well, I put a vote on Twitter, and you guys are welcome to that. This is from a couple weeks ago. I put this out. But if you guys would like to guess in the chat, how old do you think I am? You guys can pick whatever numbers you want. What I provided in the poll was Am I 17, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, or 30 plus? So how old do you guys think I am? Go ahead and throw numbers in the chat, and we'll go from there. But this group fell into this hole so incredibly well.
Hook, line, and sinker.
I was impressed. I was just like, wow, guys, way to go. So people were coming at me being like, oh, you're 17. You shouldn't, like, you should do this. You should do that. You're 17.
Do you have, by the way, do you have those screenshots? Because I didn't capture them. I should have.
Yeah, I got a good number of them. I don't have all of them, unfortunately, but I do have a large number.
Do you have the one that somebody actually said that because you're 17, a bunch of old men were creeping on you? Something along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, taking advantage of a minor person. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to share screens. You're going to have to adjust.
People think you're 42. No, that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That's not Cheshire's age. Yeah. By the way, let me give you guys a little bit of advice. When a woman asks her age, you never go high. you always undercut. You always have undetermined. You want to do what's undeterminacy. You want to go under a little bit. You don't want to be able to. You want some wiggle room there to not determine her actual age.
All right, so you guys can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, this is the beauty community saying this, which I find kind of ironic given that a lot of the people that support the beauty community are teenagers. So they really do hate on their own group. So let's see. Chesh looks like a literal child. She still has baby fat on her face and does not look like an adult at all. I really doubt she's older than 17. LOL, I'm just waiting for... Or when they say stuff like this to a minor, LOL, I'm just waiting for Chesh to follow me so I bash blah, 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 blah. Honestly, I feel sympathy for her. She's a child. She doesn't understand these men are exploiting her.
Good fucking grief.
You don't have homework or some other age appropriate
I haven't seen that one.
17-year-old shoot. I'm 19 and have had alcohol plenty of times. Doesn't mean anything. That's in reference to this. This is the main
underage drinking. There you go. I remember that one.
Chesh is a 17-year-old child. These grown men are joking about painting their genitalia and masturbating to her. She is being exploited. So this is the clip. Unfortunately, I was unable to pull the actual clip that they had here. But essentially, what the clip says, and you can go find this clip on my channel. But what I'm saying here is that I could have been at the bar. I could have been out. I could have been doing anything. Why am I here? And so somebody asked, wait a minute, if you're 17, you wouldn't be allowed into the bar. Could you get into the bar? And I was just like, what? Could you get into the bar if you're 17? If you know what you're doing. So my response to this is that me saying I'm 17? Because it doesn't sound like it's me saying I'm 17.
And by the way, there are other people out there that have very trollish behavior that have actually said, well, look at Chess lying that she was 17. What?
Are you even old enough to have graduated high school? Have you ever had a full-time job? Just so strange to be smug about what other people are doing when you're likely not even at the point where you've done that yourself.
Wow.
She doesn't look a day over 12. Tell that to the movie theater so I can get cheaper tickets. You mean she
do you order off the kids menu? I'm just kind of curious. Like you go to Denny's? Okay.
You mean she looks like a seasoned mother of 4 kids who calls the cops any chance she gets? This is the comparison picture.
You're adulting.
I cannot wait. I really hope somebody had said that a picture of me needs to go on 13 going on 30, the subreddit, and I really hope somebody does put me on there because I would love to see the responses. So if you do put that on there, please link me. It wasn't out of context. They wish you a happy 17th birthday 3 months ago. You got busted. You're a minor. This is
I missed that one too. Oh my, I'm telling you, this is gold. This is absolute gold.
Is this taken out of context? 1, yeah, and 2, you're saying it says something it doesn't.
No, wait.
These are the trolls.
Scroll that back real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to. I recognize that
118 views.
So to give you guys a little idea here, by the way, Chess is not 17. This is
But listen, we'll get there. Don't spoil it, Steve.
Well,
don't spoil the fun.
She's actually a little bit younger, but whatever. But whatever.
Hey, by the way, the age of consent in Canada is 16.
Yeah. There you go. See how easy it is to spin? These people took information that they thought was, by the way, you could stop screen sharing unless you got more. Do you have more?
Oh, I got more.
Okay, let's
I am
finish
not
your thing.
close
Then
to
we're
done.
all right. Go ahead. Go ahead before we run in the narrative.
So keep it, guys. Look at these names, just so you're aware. Like, keep an eye out, so you know where this is coming from, right?
They should be able to
People were
recognize this
showing,
hangout. Yeah, maybe they might. They know.
people were saying that there's this ridiculous amount of information, and I'm just like, where? What ridiculous amount? I keep asking for it, and I've gotten nothing. The people have shown you literally everything, yet all you can say back is proof. One, that's not what I said. You've admitted to blindly believing everything lore says without seeing a stitch of evidence to her claim. Where did I say that? Again, run along and do your homework and be a 17-year-old. Your reading comprehension skills are lacking. I suggest you pay better attention in school. I said I don't argue with children on Twitter. Go do your homework. Also, do your homework on Steve, who is much older than you. Shiver.
I love that one.
Mommy, know what you're doing.
Do your homework on Steve. I've been around
don't
7
argue
years. I
with
got a lot of shit that people can go find, good, bad, or indifferent. It's all out there. I'm happy for that. I've done good, majorly good work, and fortunately, that comes with the price of people being trollish. And so this is why we do these videos, because we're familiar with the people trolling.
Somebody saying that Steve is disabled. This person claiming that I am actually lore. Go do your homework. I'm not going to defend myself. Blah 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 blah. Dear God!
There's
and then over here.
So much spin. This is OneNote, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, just
so much spin.
Going. Oh my
Never
God!
stops.
Like, look at this. Oh, I don't. They said down here that they didn't block me, and this is them deleting all of the comments. So what I did is I snipped it in this order, and then somebody asked me what they had said, and this is actually in order what they had said, so you can actually match it over if any of you guys are interested in this garbage. I mean, it makes for interesting nighttime reading, but yeah, that's pretty much all of them.
Yeah, so I think people can see now that if people didn't know Cheshire and they didn't know Cheshire and I's dynamic together, by the way, she is my co-host. She is basically a second higher version of the co-host that I once had. And we have a dynamic because we don't agree on a lot of things, but we do both think that we want to put forth a good product. And this is what this Caffeine Corner was kind of about, just kind of talk about stuff in the community until I get the Non Sequitur show channel back, which people were asking about earlier, that the judge just needs to sign that to answer those people's questions I saw earlier. Judge has the order. He just needs to sign it. Then they have 14 days to get me back the channel.
I always suspected Chesh was Steve's granddaughter.
I'm not that old, people. Okay, come on.
Here's the thing. There's something about both Steve and I that makes it look kind of weird. I totally get there is nothing wrong with saying, hey, Chesh looks kind of young, and being skeptical and wanting to know. You notice what none of these people did?
Ask
me how old I am.
No, I don't recall any of them.
One. Eventually,
not one.
After I called them out for not asking, one person decided to ask me, and I was like, really? You've been going on about me for like a day. You think I'm gonna take you seriously and answer your question now? Get the hell out of here.
But do you agree though that if people didn't know what's that
Steve
C word?
Looks older.
Well, of course.
Context?
Yeah, context.
Steve looks older than he is a little bit just because of your hair color, right? And I look younger than I am because genetics.
I don't think I look older than I am. Hey, whatever, man. Well, you know what's so funny is people. We'll get into some of the lulz cow crap, but some people are like, Steve's a creep. He likes younger girls, and you know what? The girl that I like is younger. Whatever. She's 34. I'm sorry. What?
I'm not a child.
I mean, I'm 34, not an adult. The one person that I've had the same interest in for a fucking year is 34. I wouldn't consider that to be, I'm only a couple years older. I'm not.
So
the
my poll
40s.
results that I got with 319 votes was 19% thought I was 17, 36% thought I was 20 to 25, 33% thought I was 25 to 30, and 12% thought I was above 30.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That one's.
So now I want to do something very, very specific, and I'm going to preface this because I think it's gonna get picked up, probably. I'm not going to show you guys any evidence for how old I am, because there are enough context clues. You guys can figure out probably pretty roughly about how old I am. One of them being my tattoo. So there's your hint. Now,
She is younger than me, though. We'll throw that out there. She is younger than me.
I am going to tell you an age. Now, you can choose to believe me that is actually my age, because I'm not actually going to demonstrate to you how old I am with any kind of ID, because I don't think I need to.
Why would you?
And you guys can either choose to believe me or choose not to believe me, but then you've actually at least asked me, and I've actually told you.
Yeah. Well, there are people that actually know. There are people that know.
Yeah, no, there are people who do know. And now this is the thing. You can choose to believe me, you can choose not to believe me, you can choose to require further evidence to make that kind of assertion. You could think I'm lying. And that's fine. There are enough context clues for you to actually figure out how old I am if you are so inclined. But I will tell you now, I'm 29. That's how old I am. Good luck. Good luck in the future.
I want people to really think about this. If people did not know who Chess was, if they just went to these locales things, the Kiwi farms or whatever, and again, I don't give a fuck what's on those sites. I don't go to them. It's not even entering into my world. But the people that don't know us and the people that don't know Chess, how easy it is for them to be manipulated by these trolls by saying, "Oh, look, this is a 17-year-old girl that is being taken advantage of by this creepy old guy, Steve." Right? I mean, it's an easy spin because we've seen those things happen. There are people in our community, those things happen. Look at Onision, right? Look at, what happened with Matt Bell. I mean, we've had some pretty messed up people on YouTube. So these things do happen. So these narratives are very easy to spin by trolls. And a critical thinker should go, wait a minute here. Maybe I should get some more information on this. But they don't. They will buy into the stuff hook, line, and sinker, which every one of those people that were talking to Cheshire on Twitter, they were not critical thinkers.
Well, they tried to talk. Well, they also tried to use the idea that I'm 17 as an excuse to not talk to me.
Yeah, but I think it was more that they wanted to try to run a huge narrative, and it's more no offense, but it's mostly against me. That Steve has this 17-year-old co-host, and it's just like, what? Okay, no, but it's funny because she really did lay this out there to see if people would fall for this.
Isn't a kid. She just stopped growing at 14. Sean, you do not know how correct you are. I stopped growing in grade 7. I stopped getting.
She's a homunculus. She's like 4'4". I mean, she's like a midget. Okay.
Exaggeration.
What are you? What are you? 4'6".
4'10.5".
Whatever. It's still you're minuscule. You're
about 4'11".
You're so short they measure you in millimeters. Okay. In angstroms.
But you can see how easy it is to be like, oh, now there's a bunch of information out there and a bunch of these people saying that, oh, I'm this age. Okay, well, if you're gonna apply the skepticism to me and say, okay, well, we know Chesh, we don't actually think she's 17. Well, why wouldn't you apply this to the David Silverman situation,
right? Or
to Mr. Atheist buying subs, or to Lore and Lily buying subs?
Oh, and we'll get into those sub things as well to other people. But it's the same principle. Why are people so against people the benefit of the doubt? Doesn't mean you have to believe them. It just means that you are going to say, I am just not convinced of something yet. And there's usually a lot of reasons because, again, it is so easy to take that bandwagon train and say, well, you know what? All these other people are believing this. You know what? If I believe it, okay, whatever. I'm not going to have any harm to me because, look, if I'm wrong, all these other people are wrong too. There's safety in numbers.
And there's another issue here. Let's say that these numbers are accurate. Let's say the spin for Lore and Lily is true. So what?
Yeah, well, that's my thing too. I really don't care one way or another.
Should this 15-year-old, or sorry, should this 18-year-old
who was 15 at the time,
who when they were 15 said something a little bit could have been worded better, maybe like, yeah, okay, I wouldn't say she's racist, but I could say that, oh, maybe this should have been phrased better. Should she be bullied for the next 3 years and be forced out of potentially having a career and doing what she's doing?
Would you want your child to be like that?
That's bullying.
That's bullying. That's straight up bullying.
That's bullying.
Yeah.
Now, to say that, oh, you know what, maybe she should have worded this better here and there at that time frame, that's criticism. That's fine. Saying you're racist and you deserve to die. Whoa.
And by the way,
whoa.
one and done. Look, if you want to valid criticize me, people, go ahead. But you come out to me sideways, you're just done. There is no discussion. I don't know why people think that they need to come out to me sideways. I'm happy to have discussions. I've been in debates. I've helped explain how to be better at argumentation. This is what I enjoy is philosophy and things of that nature. You don't need to be an asshole to me to criticize me. You just need to tell me what you think is wrong and why, and give me reasons, and we'll have a valid discussion. But if you don't, you're just gone. You scream into the void. That's it. And I don't mind sending people screaming into the void because they're useless to me. It doesn't.
Capper makes a good point. All tweets from under 18 should be given a pass after 4 years.
Well, and I agree. By the way, I think that there's something to be said for that. People have to go back 10 years for people's tweets on Twitter to kind of do this cancel culture. I think it's pathetic.
And yes, 15-year-olds should be taught, not persecuted. That's the whole point of being 15. Getting things wrong and learning.
And by the way, I've included Lily Jean's blog link in this video description for a reason. We, in the last episode on cyberbullying with Lily Jean, went through her blog. I gotta tell you, I found nothing racist about it whatsoever.
I didn't find anything either.
Nothing, and nor did the audience.
Yep.
What we did see was people spinning anything they could latch onto to run a narrative that she was racist. And I've seen this happen before. And I really wanted to really emphasize to my listeners that have been around for a long time, we have seen these things happen. Again, what happened when people with essence of thought with Rachel Oates spinning a narrative, right? Rationality rules, spinning a narrative. People labeling you guys Nazis.
Yep. And labeling all of the people from Non Sequitur who were like, Jimmy, what the hell, man, as trolls. No, you're asking a legitimate question. Now, could some of you have worded your questions better? Sure, but at that point, people were angry because he was blocking anybody who even asked nicely.
Which, by the way, I said was going to happen. I told people straight out, you asked Mr. Atheist about his hand in destroying the Non Sequitur show and violating a pre-litigation hold and demand letter, knowingly that Kyle shouldn't be streaming to the channel, but he didn't care. He's going to block you because he doesn't want to answer that question. That is a valid criticism I have of him, though. And if he wanted to come on and address it, go for it. He could more than welcome to come on and address it. This is why I'm not hiding in the shadow on that criticism. I have the evidence. I have the emails. The blog that I put out to him.
After the way he looks, and you're not saying he bought subs.
Never.
And you're not saying
or sexuality or anything like that. Nothing.
No, nothing about that. So should we get into Creepshow's video a little bit?
Well, let me real quick. There's two other things I think we need to get to first. One, let's look at the low-cal things real quick.
Oh God!
But my audience remembers this. They were called. They followed the Non Sequitur show. They were Nazis. I've been called a neo-Nazi, a right, a left, a mid, a transphobe,
Once I've
a
got
bigot.
Things a little bit more set up, I absolutely want to get a corkboard and write down what we've been called. And every time we get called something new, spin the corkboard over and add it to the list, and then spin it back.
The reason being is why these words have emotional attachments to them, right? They have.
Hey, Steve, did you accuse Kyle of buying subs?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
No, never. As a matter of fact, I'm the one that said he didn't. I believe that he didn't. But if I'm wrong on that, I'm happy to.
There was speculation at the time when the subs were dropping. There was a spike and people were confused, and there was talk that did that happen?
Yeah, but I was the one defending Kyle, and I said that I literally have said there was no reason for Kyle to buy subs.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that because I wasn't 100% sure.
But see the person accusing of that. They're like, Steve accused Kyle of buying subs with less evidence, making him a complete hypocrite. That narrative is spin. Because that never happened.
Yep.
My audience knows this never happened. They know. They've watched. I've had people follow me for literally years. They know this history. They cannot be spun very easily because they know that this statement here is complete bullshit, right? But people that don't know, people just see this person say something like that. Oh, Steve did this. They automatically attribute there's some truth or what's called verticality to these statements, merely because they're being said. Because again, these words have emotional impact. Hypocrite. Bigot, transphobe, right? They're charged, they're emotionally charged words, and they're very easy to throw out accusations, right? Because people, one, want to defend themselves, which are trolls will take advantage of, and two, they're so hyperbolic in their language because they know they don't have much of an argument, right? So they'll take the easy route and say, oh, well, look, this person's just an idiot because it's a transphobe or something. People know that nobody on this channel is a transphobe. I mean, it's just absurd. When people say that they're Cheshire, for example, got called a gender traitor. It's just like, come on. But anyways, let me screenshot this real quick. So, like we're gonna show you guys real quick some of the stuff that people sent me from Lolscals and Kiwi Farms, which again, I don't give a fuck about. I think these are hilarious because we did lay some traps, and we'll get into one of them about my military stuff. But here's one right here. Wait, that's the video captured right. Guess I deleted it. So let me go back here real quick to display capture. Okay, you guys should be able to see this now. Yep.
Vids, are you trying to gaslight? We talked about that last time.
We talked. Oh, by the way, yeah, we talked about.
I didn't see that, Steve. Are you sure?
By the way, I apologize that we didn't do our normal like definition stuff
There's
today.
Too much.
There's just too much.
To go over today.
But we did do white knighting before, but people still get wrong. And gaslighting, because anybody who thinks I'm white knighting for anybody literally has no idea who I am.
Ooh, God, the Scummer has a good idea. We should get bingo cards for the names that we get called.
I'm okay with that.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I love this though. Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Sure. Yeah. All right, so I hope people can read this real quick. I have some of the screenshots I'm putting up here. This one's from a guy named Lampshade. Kiwi Farms. Well, again, I will never visit this site. I don't give a shit about it. People send me this stuff because they will go check it out. But it says Lolscal is doing God's work. Here, Steve doxed himself while trying to prove something no one cared about. My information has been out there for years. And by the way, people did care about it. 7,000 people, that spike that people saw in my graph, they cared about this because this was of critical importance to establish the fact that me and Kyle did have a 50-50% partnership, general partnership that we were established. Now, granted, this was not filed. He lied about that, but it's still evidence that there was a meeting of the minds that things were going to be 50-50. They think Trash Goblin's name, which by the way is Cheshire, she's a trash goblin, might be Victoria Klein, though it is currently speculation. This is what she looks like. She also doesn't seem to wash her hair. Steve seems to rope in young women that look challenged, which makes him look more of a creep. Now, here's the thing. You guys know the situation between Chesh and I, myself. She's obviously not too challenged. She's not 17. So
I am challenging towards Steve a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He challenges my patience. Does that count?
But somebody who just looks at this says, "Oh well, shit." And by the way, I'll show you the.
To be fair, it's not a very good picture. This is why I specifically went to Demi. I went to Anti-Ordinary to go, can you please teach me how to take selfies? Because I am
You do suck at it. So
I've gotten better.
This is the selfie that...
It's really bad.
It's really bad. But this is like a JF Garifrey kind of thing with Mama JF or something. It's like Steve has his challenged co-host because he's grooming her and he's a creep or something. It's like anybody can go to these sites and run these types of spin and people will believe it. Okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck what they believe because they're not my audience. I think this is absolutely a very...
This is such a bad picture.
But this I thank these people. They have made my case for us how easy it is to spin stuff. This is where critical thinking is critical. This is hilarious. I mean, this is like, do you guys think Chesh is challenged? I mean, I'm just curious.
I don't know if I want to know the answer.
Okay, so more
One
here.
in the chat if I'm challenged too, if you think I'm fine. Challenged at what?
I think they mean slow, like mentally challenged, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, that's what they mean.
Yeah, but this is hilarious. Like, again, how easy it is to spin these things on these Kiwi farms.
The thing is that you guys know us. You've been dealing with us for quite some time. You guys haven't been dealing with Lore and Lily. So, if you don't know and you haven't been spending time with them and you're not familiar with their stuff, how easy is it to believe maybe not the second half, but the first half of that?
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm playing whack-a-mole. Again, if you're an anonymous account and you just come out sideways, you go bye-bye. And screaming to the void.
Yeah. You had your chance.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We don't have time to dick around with trolls. We just don't. And by the way, after this, you guys are we don't even want to deal with any of those other people. They're just so lacking of critical thinking. We're using them as examples is what we're doing to show you guys. That's it. This is what this video is about.
Such a bad picture.
Oh, you are vertically challenged. Thank you. Somebody did point that out. That is true.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That is definitely the case. Okay, so reasons are pretty hilarious. And now, by the way, I showed this to Cheshire the other day, and she was able to point out numerous things that were wrong with this.
Oh God, yeah. Okay. Let's read
so
through it.
All right, so Steve used. Okay, would you want me to pause? You'll show me what the errors are because
I'm just gonna count.
Well, they can't see you right now.
I'll say it out loud.
All right.
I'm just gonna count out loud.
All right. Steve used to have a show and channel called the Non Sequitur Show.
1.
He ran that for a while and then took on a partner on the show named Kyle.
2.
Long story short, Steve basically let Kyle run things, and Kyle ended up stealing all the
3.
monies and locking Steve out of the channel.
That one's actually correct.
So far, that's the only one so far. It supposedly went to litigation. Kyle no-showed, so
4.
Steve won by default. Of course, there's no money left, and I don't know if Steve
5.
has regained the channel back from YouTube.
Let's don't know something.
Let's just take that first paragraph real quick, if you can.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay. First problem. Steve used to have a show called a channel called the Non Sequitur Show. He didn't used to. He still owns.
I still own 50% of that channel, believe it or not, people. The judge, I mean, I won my court case. It's until there's a dissolution, I still legally have half ownership on all that. But it's not used to. Okay, but go ahead. Minor point.
Yeah, it's not used to. Next one. He ran it for a while and then took on a partner of the show. Incorrect. The Non Sequitur Show was always a two-way street with him and Kyle. Steve basically let Kyle run things. Not correct. It might have seemed that way because Kyle kept adding random shit, but that was not the case.
Yeah, I was not letting him do a lot of things. He just did. I defer to him on certain things? Yes, because I thought he had better
That's what
insight.
a partnership is.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you get 100% of $60,000 because he
it supposedly went to litigation. Well, that's interesting because the screenshot you showed earlier demonstrated it did go to litigation.
Yeah, I mean,
we know it went to litigation.
People could go look at the paperwork. The litigation's out there. I mean, we've been in lawsuits in mandatory complex superior court in North Carolina for.
Kyle didn't just no-show. Kyle didn't file paperwork. So, that's kind of correct, but not very correct. There is no money left. We actually don't know that.
Yeah,
a lot of us speculate that there isn't, but that we don't know that there isn't. And I don't know if Steve has regained the channel back from YouTube.
Which I haven't yet, but again, the paperwork is in front of the judge right now for him to sign. It's just we are waiting.
There's something really important about this that I wanna point out. There's a good chunk of that is mostly right or almost correct. That's good spin. When you spin something and you're doing it well, you fill it with half-truths or mostly truths or things that are kind of mostly right with one or two nuggets of things that are accurate. It's just like lying. If you're going to lie, you put a little bit of truth in it to make a believable lie. One of the things that we'll go over that Creepshow says is that this story is unbelievable. Really? I agree. It is quite unbelievable. Can you care to demonstrate how any of the story you're telling is even remotely accurate?
Yeah, by the way, I agree with that. Bill Hicks says, Steve has blocked me, so I can't provide evidence way to prove me right, but he definitely accused Kyle of buying subs on DP. Can you give me the timestamp for that, Bill Hicks?
Hey, Bill Hicks, if you're blocked, how are we responding to you right now?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Bizarre.
But yeah, I've been on DP. But again, I did not accuse Kyle buying subs. I was actually the one standing up and saying I didn't think that he did. What I said was there were people out there that were accusing him of buying subs. So yeah. But if you got a timestamp, go for it. Put it in the time. Put it right now, since you seem to think that I have you blocked.
Yeah. We'll pull the video up right now and watch it if you get the clip.
But as just I was saying, this has partial truth to it and partial bullshit. But anybody who doesn't know the situation with the Non Sequitur Show is going to read this and probably take it to heart, assuming that it's all true, right? If we have this propensity to say, well, this is like 80% true, might as well just fill in the blanks, and that other 20% probably is true, right?
Yep.
And by the way, Sean, thank you, Sean, for pointing this out. Sean, by the way, is one of my favorite fucking YouTubers for this very reason. But he says,
Sean points out bullshit when there's bullshit. Sean doesn't let us get away with nothing.
yeah, he just doesn't. But he says, but me and Steve had been opposing side of that coin. He thinks that it was a bug on Social Blade. I hold Kyle to buying subs to stem the outflow of the actual subs. That is exactly what the case would be. Now, I'm not saying Sean's wrong, right? I am not saying that is not the case. I don't know.
We don't know.
I'm just saying that I don't have enough evidence to say that Kyle bought subs, and I don't see why he would have.
Yep.
Right? But it's easy to make that accusation. Even Sean has to recognize that. And he might have legitimate reasons why he thinks that he bought subs, and he could be correct. But I wasn't the one accusing him of that.
Yep.
So
that was hilarious. Yeah. I am impressed that these people think that they seem to be proud of themselves as master hackers for information that Steve publicly put out on his own, and then for maybe thinking that they might know what my name is.
Yeah, and by the way, Bill Hicks, all you have to do is say this is the video, and here's the timestamp.
Yep.
You don't need a link, dude. I mean, you
don't have to link it.
Yeah, these are just incompetent people. What I said. So we're gonna go on. This kerfluffle caused a rift in the herd, and Katie, who I believe they're talking about Katie Polson here, apparently was on the side of Kyle. Thus, Steve has taken up the enemies of Katie. Incorrect.
Nope.
I do not pull this the enemy of my enemy is my friend shit. I have my own personal issues with Katie because she lied outright multiple times. She did apologize and then made a video apologizing to me, which I mirrored on one of my other channels because I have more than one channel. And she struck that. She gave me a copyright strike. By the way, she's more than in her rights to do so. I didn't fight it. But I put it on the other channel for a specific reason. I didn't put it on this channel, right?
Yep.
So, because I wanted to see if she would strike it. I wanted to see if she really did apologize, was sincere or not. It wasn't, clearly.
Yeah.
Now, she accused me of multiple things.
She continued going on about it. Because she not only did she strike it, which is like, okay, fine, whatever. But she also continued to talk shit about you that was not true after that.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, how many people tried to tell Katie Polson that she was wrong?
Oh, God. And how many people showed screenshots?
Yeah. She was not interested in that. She was running a narrative. She was running a spin, whether it was intentional or not. She was trying to jump on the easy bandwagon of Steve committed tax fraud. Steve committed, medical
hey,
fraud.
Look, surprise, surprise. Stocks are jumping in on alternate accounts and directly demonstrating our point.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I'll be 1 second. You go ahead.
All right. So again, for those people who are not familiar, in order for Kyle to kind of like try to cover up a lot of the stuff, he had to run some kind of narrative that why he didn't pay me. There was $60,000 missing, literally over $60,000 missing, half of which was mine. And one of the things he came up with was a completely misunderstood conversation, and he decided to try to run this narrative that I was committing fraud. And Katie Polson, of course, ran with this because she didn't care about doing her due diligence. Now, I said from day one this was utter bullshit, and I had evidence that was utter bullshit. It has come out that has been utter bullshit. And she apologized. She said, you know what, Steve, show me the evidence. Kyle lied to me. I'm convinced he lied to me. As you guys all know now, he lied. He didn't have a lawyer. He didn't have a CPA. He never filed, like he said. Everything he said was bullshit. So she finally made an apology, but of course, that was not a sincere apology. And I am not done with her. But that doesn't mean that I've taken up with her enemies. There are people out there that I don't agree with, but there are people that I do. And there will be a person coming on this Wednesday, I believe, with some other people that used to be mods for Katie. And we're going to have a discussion about this very subject, by the way. So we're not forgotten about her. I just don't want to turn this channel into too much of that. I want to bring a lot of it over to the Great Debate Community channel. But these things do go on in the community. And I think that because Katie Polson, I do hold accountable for one of the people that was instrumental in the destruction of the Non Sequitur show, that she needs to be held accountable. And her making these false accusations just show how easy it is for people to buy into bullshit. Now, again, it wasn't a lot of people that bought this bullshit. I gotta admit, I was very impressed that like 95%, to throw that number out there, didn't believe Kyle, didn't believe this narrative that I was trying to commit any kind of fraud, because it just didn't make any sense. I'm a veteran. I have VA. I get free medical. There's nothing to be defrauded. I never used medical that was fraudulent. I never had billed anything that was fraudulent. I haven't been to medical since 2016. I am scheduling some things, but that is through the VA, which I do get for free, not through any kind of other insurance. So I was really impressed by that. However, there was that 5%. And again, these are just really kind of gross numbers. It was probably much, much less than that. But these people, they didn't like me. And of course, they jumped on that bandwagon. Why? Because it's easy to do. Right? They didn't give a shit about the facts. They didn't give a shit about ever asking me about it. One, most of them I have blocked. But still, they could have asked other people that they don't have blocked and say, hey, what's Steve's evidence for this? They never did. Right? So, anyways, this person goes on. There's a whole lot more lore to this cow, but in my humble opinion, he's not fully ripe. He's not a fully ripe cow. Nor is he actually that funny. I disagree, but whatever. There are several cows from this particular group.
No accounting for taste.
Yeah, really? Yeah, I mean, I can be funny. I can tell a joke. There are several cows from this particular group that I've been tempted to propose as potential bovine, right? Lulz cows. But in the end, they all seem to lack the endurance that's required because most people don't give a shit about these people. We don't care. We're never going to ever notice any of these people. We're not going to dwell on any of this stuff. They can say whatever they want on Lulz Cow or Kiwi Farms about us. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, also, Sock Puppet, they don't think they're hackers. Yeah, they do. They claim to be.
Oh, we have that.
They regularly
I
do.
have screenshots from somebody who claims to be, who's quote, and I'm not even bullshitting. They claim to have been graduated at the top of their class from their dark web. Yeah, just wrap your head around this. Somebody who said they have over 300 hacks and that they graduated from the top of class for the dark web and they can destroy your life. Now, these, again, I don't take any of these people seriously. And I got to tell you, Chester and I are in a unique position. Right. Chester and I are in a position where we do not really have to have accountability to a boss. Right. We don't have to worry about people trying to get us fired. We don't have to worry about people calling our land. We don't have to worry about a lot of these other things that people do have to worry about in real life. We don't care about that. Everybody where I live, everybody here in this house, except for one person, is ex-military. Every one of us has had a concealed weapons permit or a firearm at one point. We still have many of them. This is not the kind of place you want to come over and start shit, right? So we don't scare very easily. I got a Marine living here. I got an Army living here, Navy living here. And the other person who's not military, he has a Glock. So
wait, there's a college course for the dark web?
Yeah, no, I swear to you, I'll show you guys this. I'm not bullshitting on this. Evidence. I'll show you this particular screen, this guy. But anyways, I don't live in fear of people. I just don't. I'm 6 years Navy. I served 3 tours in the Gulf. I have combat. We were under combat conditions. I have combat pay. If you can make it through that,
Steve has also
then
shown his certificates and his medals. So when this is the thing.
That's another thing that they fell into.
They're going. I'm saying like, oh yeah, no, Steve's got stolen valor. Oh, all right.
Now, but here's the thing. As a veteran, right, and even as a person, we want to defend ourselves. And this is trivial to defend. People have seen my papers. People see my VA. People see the medals. And by the way, my shipmates are on Facebook. But that doesn't stop a good narrative, right? Now, I don't personally have to defend myself on shit.
Well, I didn't defend myself about the 17-year-old stuff. People were coming at me saying, oh, you're 17, you shouldn't have been doing this. And my response was, how do you know that I'm 17? And they'd be like, oh, well, you're behaving this way or that way, or you're saying this or you're saying that. I'm like, okay, so how does that tell you how old I am? And how do you know that I'm 17? And their response was, well, you didn't say you weren't. Yeah, okay.
Okay, well.
I wasn't 69.
There you go.
So,
102. By the way, I didn't even do this report. Somebody just showed a friend of mine, God's auditor, found this. And how easy it is to, again, it doesn't take much effort. Look, he actually went in, found the database, and said, oh, look, here's Steve serving 6 years as he claimed with exact dates. Went in October in 1987, got out October 1993. Easy to dismiss. But but again, these narratives are so easy to spin. And one of them I do want to show this before we get too much further. If I can, Chess. I know we're dying to get into that video, which probably is going to take very long. But
I'm dying. Look at me.
Let me find. Okay, so here's.
I kind of feel a little bit bad because I think we spooked this girl a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, look, I'm not against creep show art. This is not to demean her. This is not to criticize her. I'm just saying that I don't think she had all the information.
No, it is to criticize her. It is to criticize her. Well, not her, the person. It is to criticize her video.
Fair enough. I'll accept that. But it's not to throw her under the bus. But
No,
she's
we don't
only,
care about her.
She's very young, and I just don't think she understands the ramifications of falsely accusing people, or at least accusing people without evidence, enough
After
evidence.
this is all over, I would absolutely love to get together with Creepshow and do some kind of art something.
Yeah, I don't think she's a
That'd
bad
be great.
person. I think she falls in that secondary category. I don't think she's trying to be malicious, but it is still a form of cyberbullying because.
Well, I think she's being a little bit malicious, but I think she thinks she's doing it for the right reason and just has bad information.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But under her video, I left a comment. And
Copy.
and again, we got so much to get through here, and I'm apologizing for time. But
well, we might end up just having to bite the bullet and go over 2 hours.
All right. But I left a comment on her video, and this video was pinned. A couple days later, it was pinned again. Now, she, on her Twitter, basically had said that I deleted the comment, which was not true. She later found out that was not true, and she said she clarified that. However, under that particular comment, people are saying, well, Steve, or under that particular video, people are like, well, Steve deleted his comment because it's easy narrative to spin, right?
Yep.
But that wasn't the case. Again, very easy to throw these narratives out there. But if you go to that video, might still there. And I also got screenshots of her pinning it twice. One on October 21st, one on October 22nd. I'm not going to bother to show you those because they're just trivial. But I have, every time somebody pins something, you get a notification email. She pinned it twice. And what I think happened is she probably tried pinning something else, not realizing she had pinned mine. And so the next day she corrected it. She claimed that was a glitch on YouTube. I've never seen a glitch like that. But whatever. But the point was, she did tell people that I deleted that comment. That was not true. And people still bought into that, right? They didn't check. They didn't care if it was true or not. But anyways, one of the things that they left on that particular video is this. Oh, okay. And so this was, again, I think no subs, no avatar. But they say, Steve McCrae, Ken, cool story, bro. You don't hide behind a fake name, but that's a moot point, really. Well, it isn't a moot point. I put myself out there. Just put myself out there. A lot of us put ourselves out there. If you think this is easy to put yourself out there in the public and take a stance on things, then why don't you do it? Why don't you get a real account and put yourself out there? Because I don't like nameless, faceless people. They don't do anything to help fix anything. And I like resolutions. But they say, imagine being such a useless mangina and loser that you defend yourself by blocking your critics on Twitter and other social media, so whatever point you're making doesn't matter. Well, that's never happened. I don't block critics. What I block is people that are coming at me sideways that have nothing to add to the conversation. If you can't make that distinction, you don't understand what we do. But they go on and say, you're still a total coward if you call valid criticism bullying and block people for confronting you. Well, I don't. If it's valid criticism, that's not bullying. That's valid criticism. You fighting with women online and people exposing you isn't very brave either, but carry on. You claiming...
No, hold on.
Sure.
You fighting with women online?
That's pretty sexist.
Specifically women?
Yeah, I don't go out of my way to pick on genders. I don't give a fuck whether you're male, female, whatever, trans. It makes literally no difference to me.
You have to protect the women's from the internet criticisms.
Yeah, it's funny. People keep about white knighting, but here I guess fighting women. I don't know. Weird. I'm not even a feminist. But you claiming you are a decorated veteran and if combat is going to bite you in the ass because of the slim chance you do have a military service. I guarantee you're lying about what you are claiming you did while serving, and that's still stolen valor. Now, again, I have no onus whatsoever to defend myself against that person. None. And normally I wouldn't give a fuck. And I don't give a fuck. What I do care about is you guys. To show you how easy it is for people to make accusations and not back it up by anything. Because people will read this and somebody will believe it. But
it's another thing to insult somebody during a debate. It's another thing to say, like, wow, you're stupid. Here's why you're stupid. Let me explain to you. Let me point this out to you. That's not bullying. Again,
No.
We're not talking about a situation where somebody's been like picking on them for a couple of months and then goes away. This is 3 years of trying to ruin this 15-year-old, now 18-year-old's life and stop them from having a career in the future.
And by the way, I don't have to do shit to defend myself against accusations that don't have any substantive arguments to it. Again, and I want people to stop defending themselves, especially we're going to get to criticism of Laura on this.
Yep.
Don't defend yourself if people make false accusations. Say, show me the evidence.
Yeah.
This person never bothered to show the evidence. Now, people know I have a VA card, right? You don't get this unless you're honorably discharged. People know that I have medals. People know that they've done background checks. And I also have a nuke in the live chat who have discussed what happens in nuke school. You're only going to know that if you went to nuke school because it's classified. So if people have an what's more likely the case? Was it more likely that Steve served in the military, served 3 tours in the Gulf? I have 3 Westpac books. Two of these medals are combat video ones, if you might recognize Southeast Asian. And the Armed Service Expeditionary medals you get for serving in a combat area. We had combat pay. That does qualify as a combat veteran. But what makes more sense? Some rando that doesn't have an avatar accusing me of stolen valor, because it's, again, very easy charge to make, or that I actually served.
Yep.
You guys know the actual, you guys know that I'm telling the truth, but anybody who reads this, they don't know that. They don't know me. This is what we're trying to get across to you. These narratives are easy to spin.
Yep.
And I want to thank these persons for making our case for us on that.
Yep. And the thing is like, it's not difficult for anybody to turn around and say, okay, well, I believe you, but I'm going to go look into this person. That's the respectable thing to do. You say, okay, well, I've heard what you have to say. Now let me go check for myself. But you can't do that for every single claim that every other person makes out there. It's not your job to do the homework of these people making these accusations. It's not my job to say that I'm not 17. I don't need to tell you how old I am.
Thank you.
At all. It's not relevant. It doesn't matter. And if you want to say that I'm 17, go ahead. Prove it.
Yeah.
Show me.
Prove. I'll tell you what, like I said, if you can show that I have stolen value, that anything I've said about my military career is a lie, I will gladly donate $100 to the charity of your choice. I have a standing offer for a lot of people. Show that $100, charity of your choice. Go ahead, take your best shot. My only condition is I have your real information. I don't want a troll.
But a lot of
I'm not going to dox anybody because then I'm screwed, right? But I want an honest person to say, I have evidence you have stolen valor. Okay, great. Show me. That's it.
Great, cool. And the thing is that should apply to everybody. That
Yeah.
should apply to everybody for any accusation that's ever made. It's not your job to prove that person's claim for them if they say, oh, well, just go look at all the evidence. Okay, where is it?
And by the way,
it to me.
FYI, Kerbals deserve to die. I'm sick of Kerbals. They're just, you know what? You can't please Kerbals.
And then on top of that, you're now dealing with a separate issue. This is not. You're dealing with people who might not know you, and dealing with people who are going to trust sources who are saying these things. They're saying, well, there's a lot of evidence. You just have to go find it yourself. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll believe you. No, that's not how you deal with this situation. The situation is like, well, why don't you come ask me? Why don't you come talk to me? Or why don't you say, okay, you think this person is 17. Okay, so what? And prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Steve has stolen valor. How?
Oh, and by the way, it's funny. I correct other people too that, again, that have misinformation. Like Unirock once said that I have a disability rating. I have 0 disability rating. Somebody had asked, well, Steve, don't you get optical for VA? No, unless you have disability rating, something happened optical wise while you're in the military, there is no optical coverage. Although in 2018, they tried to pass some things that might have changed a little bit, but I still can't figure it out. I have called the VA thing. I just got, you do what's called a My ID thing, and I had to get new information put in because it's been so long. So I did that last week, and I will be going down to Loma Linda soon for reasons. But there's a process. But I have 0 disability rating, so I don't get all the medical benefits that somebody else might get. Right? I don't have any hearing loss. I don't have any vision loss. I don't get free glasses. So I actually had to pay out of pocket to get contacts, which is fine. But they don't pay for that, no. Real quick, I want to get to the video, and I know I don't want to run too over, but real quick, can we just show people maybe the IG audit kind of thing? Do you mind, Chesh?
The IG audit.
Oh, how easy it is to spin a narrative by.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. And I would like to point out really quick. Helios says, I never like it when people make personal attacks during a debate. Aaron Rod does that all of the time, and I hate it. He makes a great point and then gives an easy out via insult. Yes, you can. If you're not careful with the way you go about things like that during a debate, you will undermine your own point.
Right. And
if I just say you're ridiculous or your point is ridiculous and then never address it, then why is their point ridiculous?
And I will point out, Unirock was more than happy to correct that. This is why I love Unirock, and please go watch his videos. He is willing to go, oh, well, I messed up. Let's correct that. This is how I am. This is, I think, why I get along with Uni so well. If I mess up, and people remember the Non Sequitur show, every time I did screw up, I said, stop the show. Let me fix this. Right? Yep. Even though Kyle hated that. But
you also can't take claims off of the internet and then go to that person and kind of, even if you come at them honestly and say, oh, hey, I heard all this information about you. Go through every single piece of your history to explain to me how this isn't.
It would be
true.
too long.
No, that's not reasonable. It's not fair to that person to have to necessarily go over it over and over and over again. Realistically, you should be starting at zero. You should be saying, okay, these are these claims that I've heard. Now let me see if I can. If you decide that you want to do the person's homework for them to see if any of these things are true, watch for a week. Watch Steve for a week and see if any of these things are accurate. Watch me for a week and see if I come up, if you think I'm 17, if you think Steve has stolen valor. Because these things have been talked about. These things have been addressed multiple times. And we're not going to be able to go over everything every single time.
And we're not going to. We're not going to go over the same things that have been addressed millions of times. So when people say, well, you're dodging, no. My thing is now, you know what? Go ask somebody. Go put it on Twitter. People are out. There's enough people. Thousands of people know the truth. So it's not like, you know.
Or even the person who's making the claim. Where?
Yeah, I would love to see that evidence. All right,
please.
So to real quick, to kind of tie this all back in about like buying subs, and then we'll get into Creepshow's audio, video, and some recommendations for Laura and Lady Jean. I did a couple IG audits. Now, again, this is not the best program in the world by any means. But here's I did Playboy. These have a 54% estimated real followers. That's not very much when you have 8 million. Okay. 8 million. This is almost 4 million supposed fake accounts. The expectations for the comments is 2.7 thousand with an average of only 204. You could run the same argument that people have had against Lily Jean as far as fake accounts that Playboy bought subs. Now, I'm telling you right now, there are fake subs out there. I could tell you right now, and I was going to do this, but I decided not to because it's just running over time. But I have a web page. I do a philosophy blog. And I have to purge names of that philosophy blog a lot because for some reason I have these Russian bots or whatever and they sign up, and I've showed Cheshire this and I've showed other people, and I have an automatic program that actually does it. Hundreds of them, probably 1,000 total. And even still, when I checked it the other day, Cheshire, were they not new fake accounts?
Oh yeah, there were new ones.
Okay, did I buy any of these?
No, with what money?
Yeah, of course. What would be the purpose? My blog
What's
is not.
The benefit
my
to you?
blog is not monetized.
No motivation
it's
for that
none.
at all.
But people would say, well, look, Steve, you had 300 fake accounts, and
scroll through the Twitter feed. Scroll through my Twitter followers and watch the spike of how many of these fake accounts, trolly accounts, are there because we've gotten involved with this situation. So there's a bunch of people. The one person claimed they had 6 accounts. All 6 of those accounts follow me.
Yep. So I want people, and this goes out to Creep especially because we're going to talk about our video soon. You have to look at a holistic approach. You have to look at everything all together. You can't just assume people are buying subs because the indicator that you think is the case. Because we've shown at the very beginning of this video how easy it is to look at a graph and go, look, this person bought subs. Now, here's another one here. This is Revlon, going back to the makeup artist type stuff. Revlon, 2.3 million subs. 46% of them are real. Over half are fake, according to, again, IG Audit, which I do not think is a very accurate source, by the way. Expected comments, 758, with only an average of 15. People were using this argument, oh, look, they have all these different subs, but they have such low engagement. 15! Okay. You could use the same argument to say Revlon bought subs.
You could use the same arguments to say everybody has bought subs. Everybody's bought subs. Woo! I prefer turkey. Okay.
Here's another one that I did. MAC Cosmetics, 23 million followers, 54%. Expected 7.3 comments. Average only 256. That's very low engagement. Even the likes very low.
I went through. So at one point, I went through. When we were talking about Creepshow's video, I actually went through their list of known accounts that are known to be sock accounts for Lily and Lore. I actually went through and I looked them all up because the main reason why you put a list like that out, which by the way was like under 20. So out of the millions and millions of followers that they have 20 sock accounts apparently, which is a big deal for some reason. But they're not. There's not a way just by looking at them to tell that they're sock accounts. And 2 or 3 of them, I actually have an email in them, and I emailed that email, and yeah, it was them, and they weren't hiding it. It was their managerial stuff. So it's not a sock account.
Yeah, it's so funny. The list of people think that Laura, that people say that Laura had all these fake accounts. Mostly they're just old accounts. I have old email accounts as well. If people really wanted to dive into.
Of course.
I
have all the accounts that just aren't active.
I have old, cable type accounts. But here's another one, CoverGirl. 48% real. 48%. Right? Expected 958 or 925, average 32. Now, Lily's is low. Not going again, according to IG Audit, 24%. Now, if you do a more heuristic analysis, there's what's called what is it? Auditor? But it shows about 600 of her followers are legit, or 600,000 are legit. The rest come from Iran and some other places. This is where they get that 80% from, which again, not completely accurate, because if you look at the podcast from the Non Sequitur show, I'm sorry I don't have these analytics. I cannot back this up because I don't have access to it any longer. If I get the podcast back, I will verify it then. But you'll see that 48% of our downloads was from one state. I believe it was Ohio. We had we're pushing 500,000 downloads on iTunes. That's a lot for iTunes. We were a very popular podcast. We were always in their highly recommended things for our podcast. But, it showed that it was from one state. Now, I don't think that's really accurate, right? I don't think those were actual bots. I think these are tools to give you kind of an indicator, but I don't think these tools are very highly accurate. And I certainly cannot derive that this person bought subs for the same reason I couldn't for Revlon.
Yeah, it's not accurate enough to be able to make any kind of actual claim based on that alone.
Right. Right. This is people that are just looking at something very superficially and going, "Oh, look, this must be the case."
And it doesn't apply if you put it anywhere else.
And as critical thinkers, I want people to recognize that there might be other possibilities. Now, do I think there's been some mistakes made by Lily Jean and Laura?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that before we end this broadcast, because I want this show is not just about education, but it's actually to make some changes, and we want things to be resolved. And I hope that they take our advice. If they don't, that's fine as well. But they've asked us to.
Well, that's the other thing. You can't say that. This is something that I see happens a lot. Somebody will give valid criticism. That person won't follow their advice, and so they say, "Oh, well, they don't take criticism."
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that just because they decide not to listen to you doesn't mean they didn't take criticism. Well, it just means they don't want to do what you told them
I am
to.
much more likely to take valid criticism for people that I accept as being honest agents than I'm going to be from a dishonest agent.
Even if
right?
It's not, it's like even if look, if Steve decided that he wanted to ask me for some advice, and I said, well, I'm going to be critical about this thing you did, and I'm going to give you this advice. If he chooses not to follow that advice, that doesn't mean that he didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah, it means that either one, you get to tell me later on, God damn, Steve, told you so, should have listened to me. Or it might be just be, you know what? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just, what do you think is the best course of action?
What do you think?
Yeah, it's Chesh and I bounce shit off each other all the
Somebody
freaking
could say,
time.
hey, Chesh, I'm going to give you some advice. I'm a little bit critical of your hair color. I think you should get some streaks put into it. I might be like, oh, okay. And not do that. That doesn't mean that I didn't listen.
You're not dismissing them. You listened.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, and people want to criticize Lily Jean on her makeup type stuff. That's fair. I don't know anything about makeup. I've watched some of her videos. I watched the one she did last night. I was impressed by it. I can't do that shit. But I'm not a makeup artist. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But I thought she did a pretty good job on it. So I wouldn't have any valid criticisms to give to her because I'm not somebody who knows about that particular topic. Now, if Lily Jean said, hey, Steve, can you kind of help me when it comes to science or philosophy? Maybe I might be a little bit more able to. But that's only because that's something that I at least have a little bit more experience with. And if she decides not to take that advice after that point, I'm not going to go, well, she just blew me off. I'd be like, okay, she asked. I gave her the advice. She didn't take it. Okay, well, I'm not going to get butthurt over it. But there are a lot of people that get butthurt if you don't take their criticisms. This has led to schisms, literally led to schisms, because Steve just won't take criticism. No, I listened to you. I think your criticism's shit, but I listened.
Or I'm not going to take your
Or I'm just not
advice.
going to talk. Yeah.
I don't like the direction that would be. I want to go this direction. Your criticism of me might be valid, but it's still your answer to that is a different direction. And I don't want to, like, maybe I'm going to adopt what you're telling me is criticism, and I'm like, maybe I'll change that part of it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take your advice on top of it.
Well, let's give the example real quick that people can relate to. My advice to Kai was stop putting this secondary shit on the Non Sequitur Show channel. This is not what Non Sequitur is about. I think it's a bad move. I think that people are going to be turned off by it. And I have numerous people messaging me saying, what the hell is this crap? That was my advice to him. Did he take it? Clearly not. But he listened, sort of.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really hurt that he didn't listen to me. I saw it going to shit, and I saw him listen to people that he shouldn't have been listening to. He took their advice instead. Okay. I don't begrudge him for doing that as much as I hold the people giving him bad information accountable because they gave him bad information based upon a really piss poor understanding of things. Right. So I'm actually going to be holding them more accountable for that. But can you guys see that just because you don't take somebody's advice doesn't mean that you're not willing to accept criticism? I invite people out all the time.
That's not the same thing. So, like, if I say, hey, Steve, the way you're coming across on Twitter is kind of weird, and Steve goes, yeah, I know, fuck you.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not unabashed when it comes to certain things. If you don't like the way I am on Twitter, don't follow me on Twitter. I mean, don't. But you can't just sit there and say, well, Steve, I don't like your behavior on Twitter. Okay,
One
fine.
of the things I legitimately came when Steve and I first started talking to him I was a legitimate criticism that I brought to him. I was like, you on Twitter, you kind of come across like you don't read very well. Like the way you type, it doesn't sound like it doesn't read the way you sound. And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what you should do? Use more commas. Send that bitch a smiley face. Bitches love smiley faces.
You guys don't even know. She's not even joking here, people.
I'm not kidding. And he was like, no, I do this on purpose. It's specifically for these reasons. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I haven't criticized him about it since because he knows what he's doing. He's not. I'm like, okay.
People underestimate me a lot. They think that I really don't know what I'm doing.
But he also did take so he didn't take my criticism because he's like, I don't care. But he did take my advice. So it goes both ways because now he uses more smiley faces.
Yeah, and I throw in a comma every so often just to keep her appeased, by the way. But she loves her commas. Holy cow, you guys don't even know.
So many commas.
So
commas
many.
For days.
It, comma, thus, comma, and comma, whatever. But she knows it. By the way, she's a pretty good proofreader.
Thanks.
But okay, so we're reaching towards the end here. Let's get into the creep show art kind of thing. This is all your domain because you did way more diligence on this than I would have.
Okay, so I am going to preface this real quick. We're not going to get through everything, and there is going to be stuff that we skim over and stuff that gets missed, specifically because one, we're short on time, and two, because I didn't watch this video more than once. I don't think
I'm going to play the video. I think we're just going to go with the timestamps and you talk about it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so there's definitely
no offense to the creep show art, but it's too time consuming.
Oh my god, nobody cares.
Yeah.
This video is what, 29 minutes, 28 minutes and something? It's almost a 30-minute video, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
It's just my last timestamp is 28:30.
Well, real quick, somebody wants to know if you prefer the Oxford comma.
It's situational. I prefer it in more professional writing, but for Twitter and those kinds of and for comments like that,
you're so wrong. Always use the Oxford comma, so you don't have amphibole.
Well, I prefer to use commas wherever to emphasize the way I am actually talking.
Okay.
So
well, I guess so. It's your style
to help put in to put my voice into the writing. That's when I prefer to
she's doing what's called stylistic type writing, right?
Yes.
Rather than
and I stick with that. I don't usually tend to stick with technicalities in Twitter.
By the way, good word of the day. If you guys don't know what amphibole means, go look. It's amphibole is something that actually goes way back to classical philosophy. One of the very first Aristotelian types of fallacies, where there's what's called logical ambiguity. So the fallacy of ambiguity that falls under. You see it quite often where people can read things in multiple different ways because it's not very precise. This is what we're talking about, how easy it is to manipulate things. Because you can manipulate those things very easily. Go ahead. Sorry, off topic.
Yeah. So this video is just under 30 minutes long, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm not looking at the video itself right this second, because I'm looking at my notes. I have 51 timestamps on a first watch. And I know I didn't get everything because I literally just stopped. I was just like, I can't timestamp this every time she says this because it's going to be forever. So I think the most important part of this video is actually the first 2 minutes, 30 seconds or so, which is ironic because, and also part of it, because she straight up says, hey, if you want to get to the video, skip this thing. Really? Because I don't think we should skip this, because I think this is probably the most important thing that you say. So if you want to start, because my first point is at 28 seconds in.
Oh, so you do want me to play the video?
I thought you wanted.
Oh no, I was just saying that before. I don't want. I mean, do we have time to play the video?
Okay.
I don't know. Do we need to? I mean, people can watch the video. Go watch it. I put the video link in the video description.
All right, tell you what I'll do.
I just don't think I don't think it really matters.
I'll make my timestamp. What we'll do is we'll put my timestamps into the description.
Perfect.
So you guys can actually go and look at what I'm saying. So at 28 minutes, the first couple of minutes are the most important part of this video, and it basically debunks everything she says after the first 3 minutes or 3 minutes 20 seconds is whatever she stamps it at. So the first 28 seconds is she claims to know about Laura and Lily's understanding of copyright and what they think about it. How do you know that at all? How could you possibly know what their opinions are about the copyright system, especially since when they did DMCA somebody, they did it by accident because they didn't know the difference between ID content. We actually had to argue with them for like, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
To get them to understand what we were talking about.
Oh God, so many different the rabbit holes here, but maybe we should touch on that a little bit because this is kind of a critical thing. There was a account out there at WCT who basically had a video critical of Lily Jean that YouTube matched with a 20% content ID match.
Yeah.
This is not something that's DMCA-able if it's under fair use, right?
Yeah.
Now, Lily Jean and her mom didn't understand the difference between content match ID and DMCA. Mm-hmm. I felt that they're DMCA because when they were asked, do you want to DMCA this or do you want to just do a content match to try to get the revenue from the stream? As people know, as creators, if you have a content ID match, somebody claims it, they can get your entire revenue, right? Which is bullshit, but that's the way YouTube has it set up. Well, they decided to do a DMCA on it. I have all the emails for this. It was a straight up DMCA. But WTCT wanted his stream back. He wanted to be able to stream again. So I offered to negotiate when nobody else was bothering to help him. They were all just, oh, look, they falsely DMCA'd him, blah, blah, blah. And instead of having a solution, they just wanted to make it into a narrative. So I explained to them the difference between these things. They honestly didn't know. Straight up, they didn't. No offense, Laura, but she's not too familiar with a lot of the stuff works. But she was willing to listen. Why? Because I didn't come after her sideways.
Yeah, you didn't go after her just claiming, hey, you did this thing, you need to take it down.
Yeah.
No. You said, okay, it looks like this happened. Can you explain what's going on here and tell me where are you at about this?
Yeah.
And so in talking to her, we were essentially able to suss out that it was essentially an accident. Now, she wasn't keen.
And I'm not a big fan of that word, but I use that word accident myself. And it's probably not the most apropos word.
No, it's not the most accurate.
I think it's out of ignorance.
Purposely did. Yeah, it was ignorance.
Yeah.
Now, she argued with us for some time because she didn't want to take it down anyway. She was like, yeah, but it's a trash video and it's talking shit about us. And how many times did we say, they're allowed to talk shit about you?
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
It doesn't matter. But because she didn't understand the difference, it was informing her decision to say that, well, I should take it down anyway because she didn't understand the difference between what those things were. Now she understands those things. So hope it shouldn't happen again under that understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
But we did have to have a conversation, and we were critical to her about that because it's like, no, you can't do this. This is bullshit. Yeah,
and again, WCT just wanted the strike removed. He didn't give a shit. He wanted it resolved. And so I negotiated between them. Now, do I think the resolution would have been something I would have been accepted, that I personally would have accepted? I don't know. One of the conditions was he just removed a video. And he didn't care about that. He that was the least of his concerns. He was like, I don't even want to deal with these people. Just give me my streaming back and I'll be very happy. He was thrilled that I negotiated this. There was a resolution, and again, contract should be in what's called conflict resolution. You try to make people what's called whole. This is what you find in the judicial system. They want to make people whole, but sometimes when it comes to a remedy, there's no perfect solution. But if both parties walk away feeling that they've managed to get something out of the negotiations, that's a good negotiation. Now, somebody had mentioned that Lily Jean had regretted removing the strike. Yes, that's true. However, I've explained to them why she shouldn't regret that, and they've understood. They thought WCT went back on his word. He made some conditions. He made some promises that he made to me that I related to them. I believe he's kept his word. They believe that he didn't, right? But however, I think I've convinced them now that he probably did. So I think what they did was they lashed out and they said, well, I regret doing this because WCT didn't keep up with his end of the bargain. But again, these are different viewpoints of things, but they're willing to listen.
Keep in mind that they have also not restruck him in any way, shape, or form.
Right. So but that's the reasoning why behind that. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if they do regret and say, you know what, I regret taking this down and wish I was able to take you down again. That's not a threat, and that's not them saying that it was right to do so. It just means that they wish that they could and they can't.
And let me point out, this stuff's not easy.
I wish I could fly. That doesn't mean I'm gonna go jump off the building.
But let me ask you, Chess. You and I have had experience with DMCAs because we've issued numerous.
Especially as an 18-year-old.
But we've initiated many of them. We've done counterclaims. I have an actual legal thing that I do when I do a counterclaim or do a thing. Yep. I have a lawyer. So if somebody wants to DMCA me and they think that I have something that, by the way, take it to court. People know that I don't bluff. I actually have legal representation. And if you think that you want to sue me, take your best shot. Because I've never done anything that was not fair use. But I understand the difference because I've looked into these things. But back years ago, I wasn't too familiar with it, right? I had to educate myself on it. These are not easy topics with these DMCAs because years ago, people being around for a while, they remember the day where it's so easy to strike somebody.
Yep.
YouTube didn't care. And by the way, it's still easy, but it's a lot more difficult to make that strike stick if you do a counterclaim. I'm not going to go through the whole procedures of the DMCA, but they had no idea how it worked. Spun? Yeah, what am I spinning here?
What have we spun?
Yeah. None of this is spin. This is everything I've said is bad. You could fact check. I mean, I don't understand how this is spin.
Our interactions with them is not spin.
Yeah, we just explained
something that somebody said and putting it and framing it in any kind of other light.
Do some of these people not understand? We literally just explained why she regretted, why she tweeted she regretted removing the strike, and I told her, don't regret it. He didn't violate his thing, and she understood. Now, again, these people are reactionaries when it comes to Twitter.
That's not what an excuse is.
That's not an excuse. This is literally what happened. This is literally the conversation I've had with them. Okay, so don't try spinning stuff because again, we don't tolerate that. I'm telling you what actually occurred. You don't have to believe it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we are not denying. At no point are we denying that she didn't regret it, nor are we saying that it's anything other than what it is. Yes, she did.
But how do we not know? But here's the thing: we know about the tweet because we addressed it.
Yeah, exactly. So there is no spin going on here. She did say those things. We think that she is wrong to think that, and Steve is explaining that he expressed that to her, and she is now agreeing with him.
Yeah, and we kind of explained to them
That's not spin.
We explained how serious a DMCA is. I don't take DMCAs lightly. I have given DMCAs for people that have uploaded my content, and I will go after them if I need to. But it is a very serious legal issue. I don't take them lightly, and I've never thought anybody should go DMCA somebody if there wasn't a legal, legit reason to do so. It is just one of the things we look at as a community here very poorly upon because we've seen how it could be misused over the years. Remember Brett Keane?
Yep.
There you go. I rest my case. People may not know what the hell I'm talking about, but the people that do will know my reference there. Just a huge amount of manipulation on DMCAs back in the day when it was very easy to take somebody down. Yeah.
Yep. So here's the thing. She did say that, and they did do a DMCA. There's no spin on this. No, that's not spin. They did do these things. But they've been dealt with, and they've been addressed, and they have been rectified.
Yeah, and by the way, I just said I don't prefer the word accident. By the way, the Met Gala thing has been explained many times. I mean, it was a humorous thing. That's some fan thing, and Her mom ran with it. Never meant to be taken seriously. Now, you don't have to believe that. I don't give a fuck whether somebody believes that or not. I'm just telling you there are other explanations. If you want to try to demean these people, that to me is a waste of our time, because I don't give a fuck about any of that, because that to me is trivial, just nonsense. Look, if you want to think these people are bad, you're going to think that way. If you want to look at objectively, all this is such superficial bullshit that I think these people have been bullied for years. I really, honest to God, believe this very sincerely.
Well, the people have admitted to being after her for years.
Yeah.
This is something that, like, these people aren't hiding, the fact that they've done this. Now, here's the thing. One, you don't know what an excuse is. Yeah. And if you keep going, you're going to get kicked out.
I guarantee you, you're going to be screaming into the void, because we don't tolerate this type of bullshit problematic.
Secondly, somebody made a really good point, Blue. Is online stuff really that serious, though? Turn off the computer and go have a nice walk. Unfortunately, and this is something that I really want to drive home today, it's not that simple. Mm-hmm. A lot of bullying that takes place on the internet gets brushed off to the side because it's like, well, just turn off your computer. You can't. That's not the way the internet works. It is so integral in everyday life that you cannot just turn off your computer. You can't just turn it off and walk away from it. It's not how it goes. These people are coming after your real life. These people are trying to ruin your chances at having a career, especially if where you work is online. And lots of people work online. They are trying to go after. These are people. I've had somebody say, "Oh, hey, you should be careful about hanging out with this Steve person, because what if you try to find a job in the future and people are going to look you up?"
Yeah.
Yeah, they might. People might go ahead, and if I go to try and get a job at I don't know, a convenience store, they might decide to look up and find me on this and find out my political views, and that could be a problem for me theoretically.
I'm very proud of.
But these people are actively going after them in the background at the same time.
I'm very proud of what we accomplished, and people wanted to actually look into me objectively. I think that the 99% would go. He's a pretty righteous dude. He's not an idiot. He has no malicious intent there. He's objective. He's a critical thinker, and he's kind of knows a little bit about science and philosophy. I don't think anybody who looks at me objectively and looks at like the hate videos that are out there about me, nobody in their right mind who's a critical thinker would take any of that stuff seriously, because it's so far-fetched. It's just ridiculous. So I'm not concerned about it. But the whole thing is they can look at this video and see how easy it is to spin people. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch them in the live chat. Anyways, what do you want? There's something else I wanted to touch on. Let's go back to the video, I guess.
So a lot of the time, like throughout Creepshow, I forgot her name for a second. Throughout Creepshow's video is that she's talking about that they're encouraging. She encourages people to make their own video about it. Then when we said we were making a video about it, she freaks out, and it's just like, oh, but you told us to. And that's at 128. At 132, she claims that they have made fake minority accounts. Like, her biggest thing is that she's really upset for other people because she's claiming that Lily and Laurel have made fake accounts that are minorities, and that they're trans. She's made these trans accounts, and that they might be threatening to dox other creators. Oh, no.
Can I touch on that real quick? There's one account somebody had. They were like, "Oh, look at this Shaniqua 47 something."
Sock, you haven't been banned. I don't know what you're talking about.
But here's the thing. They're like, "Oh, this is lore." I actually have a DM from that person who's a real person to them back from a while back ago. Okay, because I asked them, "How can I establish that this is not you under this account?" I'm just kind of curious, and they're like, "Well, we've talked to this person." So it's very easy to make accusations that these are false accounts. Matter of fact, if you go to Creep's video, you'll see people saying, "Hi, Lore," and yet you look at the account; it's been established in 2013 or something. It's like, and they have like 10,000 subs or something. It's bizarre. Anybody could throw these things out there. People go, "Well, Steve, you have fake accounts." Yeah, but every one of my fake accounts has my name in it. I'm not hiding. And the reason why I have fake accounts is because of flat earthers, because I'd go onto their things on a rum and coke night, I'd get banned. I'd make a new account and say, "Well, it's me again." It was just the flat earth thing. I don't hide my shit, right? But there are reasons to have fake accounts.
I'm not one account that I would argue that is a sock account.
Yeah.
I have one, and I specifically have that one because I do a lot of research in the background for other channels and into a lot of things. And so I can't interact on my regular account and still be able to do that.
Yeah. And by the way, I remember what I wanted to say about the whole real life thing.
Stock account, I can't say anything about your other account. I don't know. If you're coming in and speaking differently on your other account, then it's more than likely that you could have been banned. However, what I did say is that if you maintain these standards, that account that you're on right now will not be banned. Now, if you're interacting differently in another account, I can't say anything about that, and so I don't know what you're referring to. So they make these claims that they're minority accounts, but there's no evidence of this. She also spends a lot of time saying that, oh, I'm going to get DMCA'd if I show their face or if I show any clips from their video, so I'm not going to show any. So I'm not going to prove anything, because if I try and prove anything, they're going to.
Which is a cop out.
Then a little bit later, she shows. Well, it's a preemptive cop out to not show anything, and then later on, she also uses screenshots anyway. So she completely undermines her own point. In the first 3 minutes of this video, undermines everything she then says. She says they claims that they're lying and they're subbotting, and says that, oh well, it's just obvious and there's no demonstration of that being the case. And Steve earlier demonstrated how that's completely incorrect.
Also it's more insidious than that, because I actually said that she can come on this particular show and give her evidence, and she's like, well, she didn't want to do that,
yeah.
But she's like, well, Laura will do this. I'm like, Laura doesn't run this channel. Look, you have evidence.
Let her try and DMCA Steve.
Yeah, knock yourself out. But she's not going to DMCA me. If she does, go for it. But I mean, you could come onto this channel and show your damn evidence. I'm like, that's a piss poor excuse. Well, I have all this evidence. I'm not going to show it. At least there are reasons where you don't show things. I have confidential stuff that people DM me that I cannot show. Even to this day, I have not shown confidential correspondence between Kyle and I. I have to in private to certain people, but publicly it's not their domain. DMs to me are very private. I don't share that kind of information unless there's some major egregious reasons. I made that mistake in the past years ago. I thought about it very critically and said there has to be a very good reason to share DMs. Other people may not have that type of ethical considerations. I know Kyle didn't, but I do. I've established over the last couple of years that I will not show private DMs. And so when I say somebody has mentioned this to me in private, you accept or you don't accept, it doesn't matter to me.
I have very specifically said that I don't hold that standard. So if you come into my DMs, you are liable to have that made public on you. But I do have standards as to when I will and when I won't. I just don't share those standards because I'm sneaky.
Just real quick, I'm going to be checking some stuff real quick while Cheshire continues. But I did want to say this because I keep forgetting it. When people talk about real life, they may have not noticed, but at the very beginning of this video, I had a list of names. Those names are people that committed suicide from people that are being bullied. It does affect people in the real life.
Yes.
It really much does. Again, Cheshire and I are in a very, very unique position where we're not emotionally triggered like that. We're not going to, be suicidal. We don't care what trolls say about us. We actually care more about what people say about other people that are friends. We're much more willing to stand up for them than we are for ourselves in a lot of cases. But we don't have to worry about getting fired. We don't have to worry about anything being affected in our real life. My life goes on. I have my daughter. I have somebody I actually do like. When I turn this thing off and I go out, none of this matters to me, right? I constantly, though, I'm connected to my fans and my friends somehow through the internet, right? So I live pretty much on the internet, but they know how to get a hold of me in private. But to say that these things don't affect people in the real life, you just like you turn it off. It doesn't.
It's not that simple.
It's not that.
And the thing is that even if you do turn it off, that doesn't mean that the things that people say about you don't. For people who do get bothered by these things, turning it off doesn't mean that those things that they said that you read went away. For a lot of people. So if somebody says something awful about me, like if somebody says, Chesh is fat, I don't care. But if I was somebody who did care, just because I turned it off doesn't mean what they said disappears.
Oh, and I know people that have dwelled on things for a decade kind of thing, right? I mean, It's just like, get over it. And people say, well, Steve, people told you to get over the non sequitur thing. Well, hey, that's $60,000 missing from fans' money. I'm not just going to quite get over that. It's not like I'm emotionally disturbed by it, but I'm fighting for the fans to find out where the hell $60,000 went, right? You just don't get over that. So there's a huge difference to be had there.
Yeah. At 640, making claims comparing her Instagram account to BetterHelp's Instagram, but she doesn't use her own numbers to demonstrate what she's talking about. She compared BetterHelp, that we know has had issues in the past. She didn't use anything that didn't have some kind of issue, so it's not a reasonable comparison to be making. At 17, 18, she says a number and it doesn't match the number she's showing on the screen. At one point, she says 100 million%. She was mostly joking, but I got a kick out of that. She says at one point, 7:55, the internet isn't stupid. Her followers would like to differ about this. You can see the comments going on Twitter about that. 8:05 shows a set of sock and fake accounts and claims they follow Lily. No demonstration that any of these accounts actually follow her, and only one of the accounts is only one of them is actually following 1,000 other accounts. So essentially, what she does is she shows a couple of accounts that are saying these are all fake accounts. You can tell because of these numbers, and she says these numbers, but none of the numbers she's saying matches up with the ones that she's showing on screen, and she doesn't actually demonstrate that any of these accounts are actually following Lily, and she just claims that they are.
By the way,
now they may or may not be, but if you're gonna show us them.
Exactly. By the way, let me address something that's in the live chat because I take some of these accusations and things like this very seriously. But somebody says, has he addressed how Laura cyberbullies Shannon, which, by the way, is actually what's called blaming the victim. Laura is a victim of bullying. There's no question about it. Has she handled it appropriately? Probably not. But to say that she's bullied Shannon is just insanity. But she says, someone who has openly struggled with mental health and is a very stressful situation at the moment, then why is she making call-out videos? I mean, I understand she's in a very stressful. I know her situation, and she's talked about mental health issues. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse to make these types of videos where you don't have the evidence. There's a lot of people with mental health issues.
If you're struggling with mental health and you're struggling,
but don't use that as an excuse.
Any kind of other issue, fine, and I appreciate that, but that doesn't mean
you're not immune from criticism.
Criticized for what you're saying.
And you can't blame. You can't say here's people that have been bullied for 3 years. They're now cyberbullying the person who made this type of video, which didn't have her facts in order, I don't think, and made false conclusions based upon evidence that she cannot possibly support. Having mental health issues does not absolve you of these things. And you have to be able to take criticism if you try to levy criticism against people. You're not immune from it. Don't use mental health as an excuse, because mental health is a very serious thing. And I take that very offensive to the people that do have serious mental health issues to say, well, you can't come after me because I have mental health issues. That's absurd.
Or to say that people with mental health issues can't take criticism.
Exactly. That's demeaning to them. Right.
That's demeaning to those people. Yeah. 8:40, note over screenshot discredits what she's saying. So she actually discredits herself with her own screenshot. Claims to know about Lily's finances at 9:35, which I found interesting. Please tell us how you possibly know anything about their finances. Good luck. She then says that at 9:39, she's shitting on the beauty community because apparently it's not a real job. Clay at 9:54, she's claiming that Laura and Lily read one of these articles about buying subs, or maybe they didn't, because she backtracks immediately. Every time she makes a claim, she backtracks it almost immediately by saying this is allegedly, or maybe they didn't do this. I'm just going to say that they did this, or maybe they didn't. This is like the T-jump shit all over again.
T-jumps epistemology.
So essentially makes claims about how they got their career started, and how could you possibly know that? At 11:40, then compares Instagram followers to YouTube subs.
Vastly different.
Those are very different things. The engagement is entirely different, and moving one group over to another, you can't say that, oh, you have this many Instagram followers, so your YouTube should be here. No, cross-platforming is difficult.
Yeah, we had 33,000 subs on Non Sequitur Show channel, and I had 2,000 on Twitter.
I
had 2,000 on my own channel, so YouTube at one time. So it's huge differences.
Yeah, at 11:40, compares at 11:50 claims again that these things are obvious without actually showing any of it. So saying it's obvious doesn't mean you've shown anything. 11:55 uses post from earlier, but this time without correction text. So at one point she shows some screenshots and then puts a correction saying, "Oh, this is actually what happened." But then later on she shows that same screenshot without the correction in it, and then is making the same claim. So add a notation maybe to fix that one. Mm-hmm. Claims to know why they block people for calling them out. You don't know why they're doing these things, so unless you can demonstrate it, good luck. 1307 is making claims about sock accounts, which I looked into her entire list that she linked at the bottom, which I explained before. 1322 is showing some screenshots of followers while claiming that some of them are run by Lily and Lore, though doesn't specify which ones are the ones being shown. So again, throwing out these screenshots without actually addressing which ones are which. So it's just like, maybe it was none of them. Thanks. So at one point at 1412, I got a little bit confused because I think she was trying to tell some kind of analogy. But then at 1423, she's telling this hyperbolic story and then is now claiming that that story is true about one of Lily's followers and about a sock account. So please look into this story from about 1410 to about 1423, because that's really bizarre to me that you would say that, oh, here, let me tell you the story, and then say that seems like it's obviously supposed to be some kind of example, and then tell me that the example that you just told was true, but then there's no evidence that this happened at all. So I have no idea. At 1440, she's saying, I'm not going out of my way to say they aren't real. That's literally what she's been doing for 14 minutes, and it's the whole point of the video she's making. I'm not going out of my way to say that all these subs aren't real, but you've spent the entire video claiming that they're bots or other things. So this makes no goddamn sense at all. So not only did you spend 2 minutes plus at the beginning of your video saying, oh, all of this is allegedly, and I can't show you any of the information.
Allegedly.
Now you're halfway through your video and still saying that, oh, I'm not going out of my way to say these things.
I got to tell you, people, this word allegedly doesn't remove your onus. It doesn't remove your culpability of making accusations. That's just insanity. When I saw even comments on her video, well, she said allegedly.
Great.
God.
Anybody who
just
commented
ridiculous.
Anybody who commented under her video said, well, she said allegedly. Allegedly, you're a pedophile.
Yeah, allegedly. I mean, I don't have to show evidence
allegedly.
for it, but allegedly.
Thanks.
You know what? There might be that possibility. Real quick, I want to thank Feline. He found a video, and he gave me a transcript because I don't want to play the video. Mm-hmm. But he found the video where I was talking about the whole buying subs from Kyle. And I made
I'm down to take a break from this, dear Lord. I'm halfway through.
And
I'm skipping some, so.
I just want to, real quick, I literally just saying here, I have a hard time believing that he would buy subs. I really do, even though I know he's accused other people of buying subs. I made it very clear that I did not think Kyle was buying subs. So this whole person earlier that says, well, Steve accused him of buying subs, you're just wrong. There you go. Yeah. Thank you for finding that for me, Feline, by the way. I know a lot of this. I think Sean, I'm talking to in this video, I'm not mistaken. Sean's making these accusations. And we're having a back and forth because we do that. But thank you, Feline.
So 1440 is when she goes and says, I'm not going out of my way to say that they're not real. Then at 1512, more claims that she bought her followers and her likes. She also then additional to that claim adds on that she's buying likes as well. Then at 1515, which I found was really interesting, Creepshow actually claims to have faked her own fans when she first started her channel.
I remember that in that video.
Yeah, so she actually said that she made fake accounts before when she first started her channel. So that I didn't go to check to see if she did or not, but she says that she did, which is kind of interesting. Then she makes more accusations about pretending to be racist stereotypes on these fake accounts, which she never demonstrates. Claims to know how the beauty industries works, and that if you have so many of these followers, that companies are dying to work with you. No verification of this claim whatsoever, and as far as I know, that's not how that works. You can have lots of followers, but nobody might want to work with you, and it's not that they're dying. A lot of the work that people who do these beauty things don't actually get paid a lot of the time, not directly.
They do PR work. They do promotional work.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, a lot of these people are tagging these big corporations with Little Jean in it, saying, do you want this racist representing you? This is bullying. This is straight up harassment. There's no other way of looking at it. Little Jean is, trust me, I'm absolutely convinced that she's not a racist bone in her body. Because she phrased things a little bit different, possibly, but again, she wrote a lot of stuff when she was 15. But people have taken it and they spun it to no end. And I've seen it happen to us. We've had people spin the same shit.
We showed it already.
Yeah, so I mean, I can empathize with her.
At this point, Creep
So-
then at 1650 then kind of goes a weird direction, and the same direction that she was going earlier when she says that she bought her own subs or fake, sorry, not bought, faked her own subs earlier. She says game recognizes game, and she's referencing what she said was lying, that Lily and Lore were lying to the levels of Moriarty. And so she's saying that she's a master tier liar and game recognizes game, implying that she's done and is doing the things that she's claiming Lore and Lily
I think that's called
have been doing.
projection, but whatever.
Yeah. Then there's a huge spin at 1735, which is a huge spin on what happened with White Beauty. That has been addressed. So if you want to look into that, that's at about 1730. Then at 1758, apparently claims to know what went on behind the scenes with White Beauty, the way she and how she tells the story. And it's like, I have no idea where you got that information from or how you know any of this, because you don't tell us how you know any of this. Then at 1830, there's a story about CoverGirl and says what and speaks for Lily and Lore and saying what they said without showing any screenshots or any demonstration that they actually did say any of these things. Now, keep in mind that they may or may not have said some of the stuff that Creepshow is saying that they did. The point is that Creepshow literally showed none of it.
None of it. Not a shred of evidence.
No. At 1924, she's making claims that, again, faking accounts. Like, you said that you did Creep. You said that you faked accounts. What are you talking about?
What's funny is one of their detractors actually said that they did an experiment buying subs for them. I was like,
yep.
Okay, whatever.
1931, she claims to have been blocked by Lily and Lore for tweeting about this situation. She doesn't demonstrate that she was blocked or any of that. At 1947, she says that Lily and Lore are scummy for doing the things that Creepshow said that she did. Creepshow, are you calling yourself scummy? Because that's what it sounds like.
This video was tough to get through. I'm not going to lie. It was not enjoyable to watch. No offense.
Yeah, at
it's just not my type of
1950,
video.
like if you actually look at my notes, I've actually got like more additional little just me
Do me a
talking,
favor,
and
Chess.
it's just so you can see my descent into
Will
madness.
you do me a favor after this is uploaded? Immediately afterwards, you have access to all this account and everything. So could you just cut and paste your notes into the description?
Oh yeah, I'll give you guys all of my notes.
I mean, you can cut and paste directly. You don't need to send them to me.
Yeah, I'll put them in there.
Okay.
At 1950, going into the copyright system and saying that they were harassing creators or that they're going to harass creators in the future. No demonstration of that. There was the issue that we talked about that was resolved. There's been no issue afterwards, so I don't know what's going to verify that she can say this or say that she knows that they are harassing content creators, because I haven't seen them harassing any content creators. At 2030, the screenshots don't show bragging, so that she basically made some claims and then shows some screenshots. The screenshots don't match what she's claiming. At 2107, because I actually have to pause this video every time I'm making notes, and I have to go back and re-listen to things, and I have to pause it and actually read all the goddamn captions that she's putting up. No, it doesn't say what you're saying it says. Again, at 2107, for the copyright claim stuff, she's talking about Steve and claiming to know what went on in the background, which she doesn't, and she also doesn't. She could have been here, and she's not. At 2134, she starts talking about Elise, and is talking about the BuzzFeed article, and the BuzzFeed article referencing Reddit. So now she's making claims about what happened, and then looking at a BuzzFeed article, which we know is a reliable source, and that reliable source of BuzzFeed is referencing a Reddit thread, which we know is also a reliable source.
Reddit, BuzzFeed, Kiwi Farms, and Lulzcow, and again, talking to my critical thinkers out there, come on. And blogs, and by the way, blogs are not reputable either. By the way, some are better than others, and people can say, well, Steve, you have a blog. Yeah, but you don't have to believe my blog if you don't want to, but you can go validate with people that know what they're talking about.
Your blog also isn't shit talking.
Yeah, mine based on, well, not shit talking, but I do call people out, but I back my shit up with what? Evidence.
But BuzzFeed is one of the least credible sources out there for actual information.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they get stuff right once in a while, but you have to be skeptical about what they're saying. And then if BuzzFeed's best reference for what's going on is Reddit, guys.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And not even like a source that we found this article on Reddit. Here's the article. No, it's a Reddit thread.
Yeah, and I reread it. Look, there's good stuff on Reddit. There's bad stuff on Reddit. It's hit or miss, but you got to be able to objectively analyze some of this stuff. But by the way, just FYI, the tweet that I had at the beginning of the show, the vote, almost 50% is number 3, which is mine. And there's people that have arguments of why number 3 would be the case. Easy spin. All Troll has to do is take this and say, look, Steve bought subs.
Yeah, it's okay, Vids. We're not saying that BuzzFeed is bad all of the time. We're saying sometimes they get things right, sometimes they get things wrong. Let me make this very, very clear to you, because I've seen you do this a couple of times. Let me be very, very clear. Sometimes they get things right, sometimes they get things wrong. That's why you need to be skeptical about what they're saying when they're saying it.
Yeah, it's not considered to be, like something that it doesn't have the highest reputation.
It's also not a primary source.
Yeah, I would say it's more secondary.
2513 talking about being transphobic now. Good luck. 2540. She actually has a very good point here. At 2540, Creep has a very good point, and I actually agree with Creep 100% on this. Lore has not handled things well, I don't think, in a PR sense. I think that she hurts the brand and she hurts Lily with the way she interacts on Twitter, and the way she interacts with trolls and the way she handles herself. Now, I've said that multiple times. There, you'll see me in those threads being like, Lore, stop. You're not helping your cause. Because there is valid criticism that exists between Lily and Lore. There is valid criticism, and that's fine. I think that there are way better ways, and realistically, I think Lore should absolutely take a step back, stay off of Twitter for a little bit, private her account. Now, here's what's going to happen. I've given this advice, and I have now given this criticism. Now, if she follows it, the trolls are going to say, oh, hey, she's running away from criticism and she's hiding now behind this, when she's taking what could be considered sound advice. So now you guys know, if you see people saying, oh, she privated her account because she's afraid of the accusations, you know exactly that they're full of shit. Because I just told you exactly
if she does,
what they're going to do. She decides to do that.
I think we could probably start wrapping up a little bit. And I wanted to, the last thing we do was to kind of give Laura and them our advice. And since we're at that kind of point, what Cheshire said is our advice to Laura. I think Laura doesn't know how to handle the internet very well. She's a little bit older than I am, but she hasn't had the experience with the internet that I've had. Generational type things. She doesn't understand that the words she uses sometimes are taken out of context for people that use these words differently. Like the word it, right? I've had this conversation with her. I know she doesn't mean it gender-wise by calling somebody who's a transgender an it, as some people have used in pejorative context. Now, this is my personal belief. Now, again, I could be wrong on this. I don't know. I'm not a psychic individual. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt because I talked to her well enough to know that I don't think she understands this stuff. But this is one of the reasons we're giving her advice. Don't be Lily Jean's PR person. Be their business manager. Stay off.
Business manager, fine. Emailing, fine. Stay off of public platforms.
Yeah, and by the way, some of the live chat. But she said it was alleged. Go back and watch what we said about that. If you, I'm telling you right now, if you think the word alleged absolves you of your onus, you are not a critical thinker.
But she said it was alleged. The person who said that, you're a pedophile, allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, this whole channel is set up to educate people in science and philosophy and talk to PhDs and have conversations and dialogue. You're never going to get to a stage where you're going to be having a conversation with somebody of any importance if you don't understand something as simple as you cannot make accusations and just throw in the word allegedly and think that absolves you of anything. Now, this works in the news sometimes only because of the fact that when they say allegedly, these are usually criminal investigations that they're talking about, right? If I say, hey, Chester was arrested and allegedly for bank robbery, that's because she hasn't been found guilty yet. She's innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't apply to you making accusations in a video where you say, hey, look, this person's a pedophile, allegedly. I'm just allegedly.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So up your game on that a little bit. But back to Laura. We've told Laura that most of the problems that we see happening with Lily Jean is because people are attacking her mom, and I think Lily Jean is getting in the crossfire. And this is the case when people, and I've seen it with Cheshire, say, hey, well, you keep talking about Laura. What about Lily Jean? They go back to Laura. What Laura said, what Laura tweeted. Look, if you have to tweet something and say, hey, Revlon or Cosmos or whatever makeup artist stuff, I say, here's this girl since she was 15. Do you want her to represent you because I'm spinning some narrative that she's racist? That is the definitive, to me, what cyberbullying is.
Here's the thing. here's the thing, and I want to address.
Has nothing to do with the
Insidious
mom either.
because Insidious, to be fair, Insidious has brought a lot to the table to say, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this?
Yeah, no, Viz is a staunch supporter of this channel. We probably agree on 90+ stuff.
Yeah, and but I do want to, because they've been around a lot, I want to address a couple of things that they said in chat. At one point, they said, what source is legit? That's what I read for their research. You need, well, first off, you should have more than one source. And secondly, if you have to ask what kind of source is legitimate, you may want to reconsider your research.
Yeah, I look
or how you're researching, because we've talked about this on this. You've been following the channel for a long time. You should know this by now. But at the same time, at best, you want a primary source.
Yes.
Can you find a primary source of Lily and Lore buying subs? Because that's your main thing. You think they're scammers because you think they've bought subs.
I've had people say they're grifters, and yet I've asked how much they made of it. Can't get an invite. I was accused of grifting when I was making $200 a month. I'm like, that's your idea of grifting? For years, for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever I've been monetized, I was making $200 a month. I'm sorry, that's not an acceptable amount of money.
Here's the thing. It's not about whether or not the source is legitimate. It's whether or not you can verify what the source is saying.
Yes.
And this goes to what Stock Account is saying here. They said, I thought we agreed that to have a look at the material, not where it is posted. Why do you keep coming back to material being on farms disproves the material? No, it's not the fact that it's on farms that it's not legitimate. It's that it's only on farms and unverifiable otherwise.
Yeah, there's no other.
So if BuzzFeed says, if BuzzFeed says something, that's fine. You can use BuzzFeed as a source, but BuzzFeed needs to be double checked. You need to be able to verify it outside of BuzzFeed. So if I want to say, hey, Steve bought subs based on this graph, I need more than that graph as a source to actually confirm. Now, I can say, I suspect that this may be the case, and here's why, but you can easily turn around and say, well, I don't think that's good enough, or that's not good. And as we demonstrated earlier, you can use these things by using their sources and their resources. You can say, Playboy bought subs, Revlon bought subs, I've bought subs, Steve's bought subs, everybody's bought subs.
Subs for everybody. You get a sub, and you get a sub.
By this logic. So in that regard, it means that doesn't stand on its own 2 feet. If the way they're deciding that this person bought subs can be applied to everyone to come to the same conclusion, it means that you're not getting valuable sources or valuable information. You need more than what you have to come to that conclusion. I'm not saying whether they did or did not buy subs. Maybe they did. Frankly, I don't give a shit. One, it doesn't make them scammers because they'd have to be getting money, and two, it doesn't make them grifters because they, again, have to be making money. We don't know anything about how much money they're making, and again, even if
nothing,
we did,
no idea.
No idea.
Well, I mean, we have an idea because they told us, but we have to accept that as
I don't remember.
Oh, I remember the numbers, but they're
I don't remember.
Nominal amounts, I assure you.
But even
again,
if they are making money, to call them then scammers is they have to be making money off of something that they're legitimately not doing. She is making content. She is doing beauty stuff. She is promoting these things. So at no point is she scamming because she is doing what she's expected to do to make that money. There's a contract there that's being met. So again, it's still not scamming. She's not coming out here with woo and saying, here's a crystal, it will solve your dick problems because your dick's not big enough. That's scamming because there's a contract being made.
I bought those crystals, they don't work. No, okay.
One side of that contract isn't being held up. In their case, they're saying, hey, we'll promote your product if you give us free product, and then they do. There's no scamming going on. That's not what a scam is.
Yeah, I applaud that. That's exactly the case.
And then also near the end of the video, my last note on this is that at 28:30, she's talking about Elise. And in the last chunk of that video is that she's essentially going on and being like, and then follow me, blah, 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 blah. But that she has, Creepshow demonstrates an incredible bias in that she has not looked at most of what's gone on here and is clearly looking at articles that have been either debunked or very obviously spun. And that's why she has to go ahead of her video, and why she has to throughout her video say, well, allegedly, I'm not really saying this. This is just what I've been told. Yeah, no. Good. Why do we care what you have to say then? Come on.
Man, by the way,
But
like I
all
said,
of my timestamps, so if you want to go and verify what I'm saying
yeah,
and
you
verify
know,
my
there.
timestamps, I'll put them all in the description. We just don't have time to go
I'm
through.
very impressed that we were able to distill this down because this is not an easy topic. This is a lot of stuff that we did a lot of reading on, a lot of talking to. I just want to leave people with this, and then I'll let Chess kind of wrap it up. You guys can believe what you want. I'm not really interested in convincing people one way or another. It's just not what I do. What I do is I want people to be able to learn the skills to think for themselves. If they come to different conclusions than I do, more power to them. But you have to have this certain skill set to even be able to properly analyze things. And I don't think creep show art does. It's not slamming on her, but we can see by the quality of the video that there was a lot of claims made that were unsubstantiated. And somebody has said, well, how do you substantiate them if you can't have access to this and this? Well, that's the problem. You can't. You don't make the accusations. Because what good is that going to do? That to me is what would be considered cyberbullying, because all that person's trying to do is harm Lily Jean's brand and trying to harm
Here's
her
the
trying
thing,
to
Vince.
succeed.
You cannot demonstrate that they've inflated their stats to get clients. You're making two claims there. One, you're
Yeah.
making a claim that they've inflated stats. Two, you're claiming to know why they did it.
Yeah,
And you can't demonstrate either of those things, as we have demonstrated that you cannot
there's
do.
so many assumptions there.
It does not work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it does not work. It does not follow. Even if they have, for the reason you said, you still can't demonstrate it. That's the problem.
And again, you can believe them. You don't have to believe them. The goal of this video is not to convince anybody whether they've done right, wrong, whatever.
No.
It's just ask you to think about things. Again, this channel has been from a very long time.
You should apply this to whatever
critical stuff.
Whatever critical thinking you applied to laugh at the claim that I'm 17.
Yeah.
Should be the same.
Or that I have stolen valor.
Should be the exact same critical thinking you should be applying to anytime you hear a claim about anybody, particularly if you're not familiar with them.
Exactly.
Particularly if you're not familiar with them.
Because again,
so if you're not familiar with David Silverman and you hear that he's done something, well, how do you know that?
Yep. People, we're fortunate. People do know
Why
our
is
history.
Chesh so dumb? I don't know, man.
Genetics.
I'm uneducated. Genetics.
She's
challenged.
She's challenged.
I'm challenged.
But anyways,
if I wasn't challenged, I wouldn't hang out with Steve.
Right? Yeah. Well, because I'm a creep. But I just want to appreciate the fact that people actually turn up to watch this today. I want to emphasize that comments are welcomed on this video. I do delete comments that are irrelevant from fake accounts and troll accounts. I will monitor my channel because I need to be, especially this day and age where people
That's
can actually...
a leading question, Sock, and that's all I have to say about that. I'm more than willing to have that discussion, but that's a leading question with a lot of inference in it.
People can leave comments that can be detrimental to the channel. So I do heavily moderate my channel, but not to the point where people can't leave constructive criticism. That's completely fine. But it's not a channel to be bullied. This is not a channel to leave comments like...
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Even if they have...
Chess needs to wash her hair. I might keep... I don't know if I'll delete that or not, but it's just... We don't care about... We call that white... I call it white noise.
Yeah.
It's white noise.
Yeah. So the other part of this is that essentially that if, one, you're assuming that Instagram followers translate over to Twitter and translate over to YouTube to come and defend her. No. Two, this is the beauty community, and that's not how it works. They're not necessarily going to be involved in the same way that our community is. It's a different world. They don't operate the same way. Three, again, it's a leading question that doesn't actually... It's not an honest question. I'm not saying you're being dishonest on purpose, but that's not honest questioning. Fourth, realistically, at the end of the day, even if they bought accounts, if you could demonstrate it, sure, you could be like, hey, you bought accounts here. Why? Sure, if you can demonstrate the claim and ask them, go for it. Make sure you can demonstrate the claim first. But... And you can ask them and try and hold them accountable to be like, okay, well, you bought subs in the past. How about you go ask Creepshow? Hey, Creepshow, you said you faked accounts. Why did you do that? You claimed that you did this thing. Why?
Game knows game.
Game knows game. So why would you do that? Can you please demonstrate and talk about what you mean? That doesn't mean Creepshow should be trolled for 3 years to never have a career on YouTube again. That's ridiculous and completely unfair and unreasonable.
Yeah. So
And again, it's not as simple as bullying. Oh, just turn it off. No, these people live on the internet. These people's livelihoods are on the internet. A lot of businesses take place on the internet. Stop. That's not
I
an
live on the internet.
excuse.
Look, this is my full time thing, and I'm very proud of it. I've worked hard to make a name for myself and channel and my friends, my fans, the people we talk to. I take this very very seriously. People that know me know I don't fuck around.
Yeah.
I don't do this because for the money. Because I did this for 4 some odd years or 3 years or however long. I've had my channel 7 years, but yeah, I only got monetized a couple of years ago, and I wasn't making shit off of it until last couple months. Now I actually have a decent, somewhat lucrative income where I can live on that I didn't have before. But I still would be doing this even if I wasn't having that. But now I'm in a position where I don't have to have the threat of somebody calling my work and threatening me. Because we have people in our live chat right now. We've had it. I'm not going to call them out unless they want to say. But there's somebody in my live chat. People have called their work.
Yep, and there's definitely like something to be said for. Perhaps we should have another video on this on how to tell what steps should Creepshow have taken.
If we do that, we'll do that on the other channel if that's okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We probably won't do it here. Or if we want to talk about evidence and how to actually break down those kind of claims and how to go about verifying these kinds of things, I think we should absolutely do that at some point.
Yes.
We're not going to do it right now.
Fine.
And the reason I just want to make sure that we do address chat. We do care about what you guys you guys are saying. We're addressing Sock. We're literally addressing somebody named Sock account.
Yeah, but they haven't come at me sideways.
They're not coming at us sideways.
That's fine. Yeah.
And we appreciate that. And again, we will take the criticism. We will address your claims. We might not agree, and we might agree to disagree at the end of the day. And that's totally fine. We might decide that we agree to disagree with Vids over here, and that's also fine. But we are going.
And I like Vids Vids is a staunch supporter. I'm not going to go, hey Vids, fuck you because you disagree with me. I respect the fact that we don't maybe see eye to eye on this, but we're adults, and I'm not. He's still somebody I respect. I like reading his comments. He can really some amazing comments. It's just this one thing we might differ on. Fair enough. That's my goal is to get people to think. That's it. If we disagree and come to a different conclusion, my job's done at that point. I'm not going to sit there trying to convince Vids. I don't have a dog in the fight, right? He just comes up with a different conclusion. It's fair, but Viz is an honest person. He's come to his conclusion by his method that is an honest approach. That's fine. My job is done.
Yeah, and the thing is that that's what we're encouraging people to do.
Sure.
If you come to a different conclusion than us, then that's fine. Now, and you're welcome to tell us that. We might criticize the way you've gone about getting your conclusion. We might say that, oh, you know what, we think that there's an error in the way that you've gone about this, and we'll tell you what that error is and why we think that, because we came to a different conclusion, and we might show you here's how we came to our conclusion. And again, we might. I
just made him a mod, by the way. I don't know why Viz wasn't a mod before, so
Yeah, we might disagree at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And the thing is that we can learn from each other in that regard. I spent a lot of time. Vid sent me a bunch of information at the beginning of all of this, and I went through it, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll make Steve aware of this, and we talked about it. That's one of the main reasons why we did the demonstration of showing that, hey, if we use this same method and apply it to other things, it doesn't fall through because now everybody's buying subs.
Right. Exactly. That's the point I was trying to make it. And by the way, when we get some other things going on some other channels, I might have to revamp the way I do mods. Just FYI, I got a lot, and I'm going to try to restructure things. But until it happens, I do have a lot of mods. But for some reason, a month or two from now, if I just get rid of most mods, it's nothing personal to anybody. But like I said, I think I know Insidious Vid is an honest person. He's an honest agent. This is what I cultivate. This is what I want people to be, honest agents. But anyways, I'm spent, to be honest with you, Chess. I don't really want to have to deal with these people from these other communities again, unless they really want to have
it's going to be fun
on other
watching
things.
them. It's going to be fun watching them all get mad because after this is
we're not going to address any of it.
We're not going to address any of them, and we're just going to block them all. So
yeah,
they're all going to be like, "Well, look, we won. We got all blocked, and they're not talking to us." Oh wait.
Yippee skippy! I'm not going to watch any response videos. Nobody cares.
So
I mean, all the trolls are going to get blocked.
At some point, if Creepshow wants to have an honest discussion about how to do a debunk video in a better manner, and how to do one that's not gonna get as much pushback, or one that's gonna be more easily followable, easy to follow, they're more than welcome to hit me up.
Yeah. She's more willing than I am. I got too much on my plate. I've still
Oh
got.
yeah, no,
I'm
I'll
I'm
totally.
still.
I will sit there and go through your video with you,
I've
and
got
we'll talk
so
about
much on my
these things.
plate. I still got to finish the whole Gypsy Rose debacle that I got myself into.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I
Forgot about
talked to
that.
Gypsy Rose, stepmom, and I talked, I've been that kind of that thing, and I've got, it's just one thing after another.
Yep.
But by the way, yes, yeah, Viz is like, all I gotta do is disagree, and I get smurfed. It's like, yeah, wait a minute, this narrative that you disagree with Steve, you get blocked. I'm like, we hit somebody disagreeing, and he got spanner. It's like, I don't know, people are just weird. But anyways, I'm
Just
going
use
to.
common sense.
I'm going to turn this over to Chess to kind of take us out.
Let's get the hell out of here. This has been what, 2 weeks that we made sure to go through this because
We did our due diligence, people. Trust me.
We did not only our due diligence. We don't have to trust you, Steve. People can watch. They see it on Twitter.
It's
went through
hyperbole. It's just
all of
throwaway
this.
sentence.
We definitely went through the ringer on this one. And if you guys we don't really have time for Q&A. We don't really have time for much. There's still a bunch of stuff we didn't touch on. But if you guys
Oh yeah, there's so much more we have, but we couldn't get to.
If you have questions about this situation, we're going to be dropping the particulars of this issue. So like if you want to ask us about Lily and Laurel being at the Met Gala or whatever that issue was, we're not going to be talking about it anymore. We're done. It's over. It doesn't matter. If you want to ask questions, ask the people who are making the claims. If you would like to ask questions about kind of what we talk about in cyberbullying, or you have your own story to tell, please by all means drop it in the comments. If we feel it's necessary, we'll do a second, like a part 2 to this one in addressing some of those things if there's enough that we feel like there's going to be enough to talk about.
I'm okay with that. All right. With that, guys, thank you for watching this. Please share this video.
Cheers.
Again, this is not a monetized video. There was no super chats. This was strictly because something of a subject that I take very, very seriously. Cyberbullying has resulted in people killing themselves. It has resulted in mental health issues. As a parent to somebody who's in that age range that could be very susceptible to this is something that I do take seriously, as well as like veteran considerations.
And
these are things that I just will not back down from.
And please keep in mind, true criticism does not hide in shadows.
Good night.